am here to tell you a story. Not a delusion of happiness, nor a mindless perversion of romance or adventure. Rather, a maddening tale of prophecy and the cruel yet inescapable inevitability of fate laid at the feet of a man inextricably caught between light and darkness. This story started long ago, but has yet to begin, and though I will do my best, there are few words able to describe the harsh realities of the events that will undoubtedly unfold before our very eyes. This tale is not for the faint of heart, nor the weak of mind, as it delves ever deeper into the question of sanity itself. Who can say what lies at the heart of madness but one who has lived it? Who better to lift the veil but the one it enshrouds? This story may plague your dreams and haunt you while you wake, for it is no ordinary telling of heroes, and there is no guarantee of a happy ending. Our tale begins in darkness and ends when all things end. Steel yourself, for there are traps along the way to ensnare you. A smile, a letter, a hand outstretched, and a secret too long kept. But do not be fooled. The viper's bite hurts worse when it is unexpected. Accompany me as I guide you down this dark path, and remember, listen with your eyes and see with your ears. Taste the despair on your tongue, for your senses will betray you to the disquiet cacophony, and I beg you to remember there is no turning back, lest you fall victim to the quiet descent.
All right. Technical difficulties over. We should cut out that part in the beginning when we post the YouTube video.
No, I think we should. I think we should keep it.
If you're watching this on YouTube, we probably just cut out like 10 minutes of us struggling.
Oh my god, I don't want to talk about it. I'm gonna cry. Anyway, God, hey, what are we doing? Hey, are we like doing a show? Oh my God, are we like playing Dungeons and Dragons or something? Oh my God, what are we streaming? What is that about? We don't do that.
Were they able to even like hear the intro? Were you guys able to hear any of that?
I was playing music, but my headphones cut out several times, so I'm unclear if anyone was able to hear music while.
Interesting. Okay.
Okay. Oh, that's good. Okay, I'm good. Glad to know that that's good. Oh, okay, good. And you guys heard the video, okay? That's good. That's kind of the most important part, is the whole video.
I have to run it back again.
Yeah, I'll play it again.
Second time's a charm.
Yeah, I'll play it again.
No.
Okay.
No, that's okay.
Yeah.
they heard it.
But yeah, that was the first video I ever made. Ben had to teach me how to use 4 different editing softwares for me how to learn to make that video. But it seems like you guys like it, so that's great. I had a lot of fun making it, even though it was really stressful.
You did a good job.
I think it turned out pretty good.
They did a really good job. They were in their room cooking for hours. They would occasionally call me in for technical assistance, but no, it was mostly you.
Yeah, this background video that you're seeing, it was mostly Ben fucking around in After Effects because I fully do not know how to use After Effects, and to this day I don't think I can, and I don't really want to, frankly.
If it makes you feel any better, I also don't know how to use After Effects. I've made multiple videos using it.
You made this and whole thing, and it looks really cool. All right, anyway, we're getting sidetracked. This isn't D&D.
Welcome to D&D.
Yeah.
Where we talk about modern editing software.
Yeah. It's called Doftware. Anyway.
Yeah, maybe we should just get into the game.
Hey, you guys want to play D&D? Hey. Hey, you guys want to play D&D?
Take it away, DM.
No, it's your turn. You do it. Oh, wait, it's my turn? It's me now? It's my turn? I get to do it now? Oh, man.
Yeah, you're running the show.
Dang. You guys don't even know what you're in for. Listen, I just want to say I'm sorry. And now we'll begin.
What are you apologizing for?
Well,
You've
kind of
done nothing wrong.
No, just sort of everything. Just like in advance. Okay. I feel like I should apologize.
No, don't apologize. Make these fuckers cry. Make the chat cry. Make them weep.
I do wish before I promise we're about to get started, I do just want to do a quick little disclaimer. This is a sad story. It's not fully horror. There are a lot of major horror aspects throughout the entire campaign. I don't know when or if I'll be able to give like trigger warnings without doing like spoilers. But I just want to let anyone watching this know, hey, there's some horror coming up. And if you don't like that, this probably is not for you. We love you so much, maybe not for you. And that's okay. But if you're ready for
I mean, if you want, I can probably post
like triggers, probably
a command for trigger warnings.
I was gonna say in like the YouTube video, I can probably post like what triggers for the episode, but like because it's live and also like.
But if you have a list of them, I can give a command that the chat can use.
I don't know what we're gonna get to today, so I fully don't know what this episode's gonna consist of.
You can just give me the entire list, and I can just throw it in there.
That's gonna have to come at a later time. That's currently not something that I can do right off the bat.
I'm sure it's not gonna be anything too intense. I'm sure.
I mean, just consider anything that you can put horror in front of. Body horror, eldritch horror, like
if you're in my channel and you can't handle eldritch horror, like I don't know why you're here.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's all my channel is.
And then I don't know did you make the command for the credits?
I did not, but I can do that over the break.
Okay, well, we'll take a break. We will have a command with a link to all of the credits for this campaign. That includes music, any art that we use, including token art, background art, scenes, maps, things like that. Full disclaimer, I did not make the art for any of this except for like some of the maps. A lot of the maps that you guys will be seeing will be purchased from Patreon, and we of course always want to give credit to those who we purchase and use. And all of the music has been purchased from Patreon and Bandcamp as well. So all of those links will be available soon. But yes, I'm very excited. And now I think I'm going to shut the fuck up, actually, because somebody has prepared a little intro for us. Let me set the scene, though.
Okay.
Let's get fucking started. I'll shut the fuck up. And all of you shut up.
Oh, you mean set the scene like music-wise, or?
Well, I got a little something cooking.
Okay. I also kind of don't know what to expect here. I wrote like a little intro, but
yes, we're gonna start the way I feel. Not a lot of
Seph's been very cagey about what's gonna happen.
I want there to be surprises. While I'm doing a lot of this, I'm not going to be able to read chat, by the way, so I'm going to kind of delegate that to you, Ben. If someone's saying some wrong, you just let me know. But otherwise, I got to focus on
I'll be reading the chat, and I'll be beating them up.
I got to focus on
that's right,
running
I'm going to beat you up, chat.
So, if you need something from me, let Ben know, because I can't read you. Anyway, okay, it's serious time now. Everybody, hey, everybody, lock the fuck in, all right? Look at me. Look me in the eyes. Lock in. It's time. Okay. I love you all. Thank you so much for being here. Okay. Our story starts a way that I feel like not a lot of stories we get to see. A lot of campaigns start right at the beginning, right? Right when their story begins. But what about before that? How did these characters come to be who they are today? I feel like that's a question that not a lot of people get to answer, at least not right away. So I feel like this is a little glimpse into a prelude, if you will, into how we begin. Give me a second to pull this
Prelude
up
into insane.
the beginning. Take it away.
Oh, there they are. They are big. So we find ourselves in Lowtown. And we are currently panning down on a young boy sitting on a windowsill with a big fat rat in his lap. This boy has messy hair, is wearing an old jerkin. His clothes are all around tattered and worn. And he's staring at the sky, and notably, something silhouetted by the sky. A statue of the goddess Sol. And he is currently, in his hand, playing with a small religious symbol, an amulet to Sol. And he says,
Sol, I don't know if you can actually hear me, or if you even got time to listen to a kid like me, but, the sisters here say we should pray to you for good fortune and stuff. I know I ain't been good about it in the past, but, I don't know. I guess I'm kinda desperate.
as he says that, we fade to that same boy the next day holding that same religious symbol in his hand, staring at that same statue while on top of a rooftop overlooking the city. No longer in Lowtown, but in the market square. And he slowly tucks that symbol into his jerkin as his friend next to him, a young elf girl, asks, since when was he religious?
He says, shut up. It's just for good luck.
And when she's not looking, he rubs it with his thumb through his shirt one last time. He asks if everyone is in place, and she nods. We cut back to that windowsill.
Look, I know stealing is bad. The sisters tell us all the time, but we need the money. I know we can be good. We just need a chance, Sol. Just one lucky break is all we need, and we could be normal kids.
We cut back to that rooftop, and that girl next to him indicates a mark in the market square. What appears to be a noble or some other person of import carrying a large coin purse. And it just so happens that same mark is overseen by the goddess statue, Sol. Perfectly silhouetted. He sees this as a sign and immediately gets hopeful. He instantly perks up. He signals to a small child in the market square, who then opens a vendor's coop. This young goblin child, no older than 5, 6, 7, it's hard to tell, but very small, begins giggling and running down the street with the chickens. The mark is interrupted, their path cut off by the cacophony of chaos in front of them. However, that same small goblin child is suddenly cut off by 2 Lowtown guards who saw his crime. We cut back to the windowsill.
Things have been getting real bad lately. They apparently don't got money for bread every day now, and the soup has gotten so watery and gross. My boots don't fit right no more, and I don't think none of the kids got more than 2 shirts between them. You and I both know no one in Lowtown would ever want to adopt us. We're trapped here, Sol.
We cut back to the market square. The town guards are about to seize the small goblin child, when suddenly, a small Aarakocra child cuts an overhead clothesline and swings through the market, scooping up the small goblin child. Meanwhile, a small human child pretends to be helping round up the chickens and bumps into the Mark on purpose, causing them to drop everything they're holding. We cut back to the windowsill.
Can you help me and the other kids, Sol? Please? I don't know what to do no more. I promise, if we were given an opportunity, we won't let it go to waste. You know we work well together.
We cut back to the market square. The Mark has dropped their things and is now picking them up. Meanwhile, the first girl that was standing next to the child on the rooftop has appeared behind them and swipes the large coin purse from their belt and throws it skyward to the young boy standing on the rooftop. He catches it and sprints away. The guards spot him, but not before he's managed to completely lose them. And when they turn back around, the young girl is also gone. They realize they're not sure where any of the children have gone. We slowly fade to the orphanage, the very orphanage that young boy was sitting on the windowsill of. They are now in the gathering hall, all of them excitedly gathered around a large coin purse, celebrating their score. They're hooting, hollering, cheering, when, unfortunately, the front door to the orphanage opens, and that Mark is standing there with 2 town guards.
And I'll take it from here, if you don't mind.
Absolutely.
The guards step forward, menacing in the way policemen often are, wearing the royal colors of the Sultan of the city, the royal emerald and gold, their spears golden tipped. They step into the orphanage. They look around. The Mark, an orc person, gender nondescript, sort of, well, you describe them.
They are sort of a large, they stand rather tall, a little over 6 feet. Mm-hmm. Simultaneously, slender build, but muscular, clearly, knows how to wield a sword. Mm-hmm. And just generally menacing, a handful of scars over their face, mm-hmm. but completely emotionless behind their eyes.
And don't forget, almost entirely covered in mysterious runic tattoos.
Yes.
This person, whom you and your merry band of misfits targeted in the marketplace, step into the orphanage. They look around, their keen eyes taking in details that most would miss. The guards, angry.
Chat says, by the way, that you're a little low.
I'm quiet? I'll talk quieter. I mean louder. Sorry.
No. They say you're a little quiet.
Okay, sorry. I'll talk louder. I'm used to speaking quietly. I'll talk. Is this better? I'll speak
probably
closer to the microphone. I'm sorry. Anyway, the guards step in. They look around. They look. The head matron, the woman who has cared for you all these years, and takes care of and maintains this orphanage here in Rian. She steps forward, confused, but not surprised. I'm not sure that this is the first scam your little troop has run. Mm-hmm. And they gesture to the person. Do you think that they've seen you? Do you think they would have seen your face?
The moment they hear the door open and see the mark, they immediately try hiding their faces and the bag, but I have a feeling that they probably would immediately notice them.
I think that upon your quick sort of, oh no, you don't quite take into account that, uh-oh, that kind of gives you away.
I think Alestain, if you guys haven't figured it out, by the way, the little boy in the intro is Alestain.
Oh, right.
I think he
What?
grabs the bag and pulls it forward and like tucks it into his jerkin, causing multiple coins to spill out. And he tries picking them up, only to make more of a scene.
I think a guard tries to step on your hand as you reach towards the coins. With your quick reflexes, I don't think he makes it, but you are unable to pick up what has been spilled.
Bitch, under his breath.
The guards are quick to try to make arrests. However, the person who steps forward, they kind of kneel down and are eye to eye with you. And they ask you, are you the one?
The one? No, I don't. What do you? The one? What?
Are you in charge?
In charge?
When
I have no idea what you're talking about.
When they ask that,
I know my rights.
The girl with amber hair steps forward. She was behind you, also sort of standing in front of some of the smaller children of the orphanage, who took to sort of cowering behind her dress, ever afraid of the guards of the city. When she sees that you do not take the blame, she steps forward and she says, "It was me. I'm in charge."
The moment she says that, he pushes her aside and says,
All right, fine, you got me. Yep, I was the one in charge. It's all me, officer.
The person looks between the two of you, and without another word stands up and turns to the head matron, and they say,
while they're doing that, by the way, he's like ribbing her and be like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
She swats your hand away and says, "Shut the fuck up." The person stands, motions to the head matron and says, "There don't need to be arrests today. I will take what is due. I will take these two, and we will leave you in peace." And you see the guards kind of look between each other like, what the fuck? But you see this person, menacing though they are, had a lot of money on them. And you see around their neck is a silver necklace. On the necklace is a blood drop with a sword in the center. A symbol that to some means nothing and to some means everything. It is the symbol of a blood hunter. Now, for those who don't know, blood hunters are outcasts. They are renowned fighters of monsters who protect the innocent, or so they say, by becoming monsters themselves, and in different ways. But what Alestain may or may not know is that standing before him is Kestrel, the leader of the Blood Hunter Sanctuary Dragonhold in Kala, up north in the Black Mountains, on the border of the Deadlands and Onari. The head matron doesn't argue. She returns the money. The guards don't fuss. Amber, your friend, and you, Alestain, step forward. How old are you at this point? 13? 14?
I think I said 14 or 15, something like that.
The two of you
let's go with 14.
The two of you are similar in age. Amber, an elf girl. Amber hair, sort of greenish eyes. The two of you have always been close. Have always done things together. And you'll do this too. as you look up into the face of who would eventually become your mentor. Unsure of what your future holds, we shift to a time several years in the future. Give me a moment to set that up. We shift to a time.
You might be a little quiet again.
God damn it. I'm sorry. I keep wanting to whisper because it's like a tender moment, but I'm sorry. I'll work on speaking louder.
You're fine.
We shift to a time in the future, several years later, where you look up at them once again. You look up at them, this time from the cold stone floor deep inside a mountain. Please describe for us again what Alestain looks like at his current age, and with the knowledge that he is presently being torn apart from the inside.
Like describe his appearance, just his general appearance.
You're on the stone floor, dying.
He's a young, Storm Genasi boy. He's got black horns with little like crackling lightning on the tips. He's got black scleros with little lightning bolts in his irises. He's got deep purplish hair with a streak through it, tied back into a bun. And I imagine he's likely screaming right now and demanding that they let him go.
Kestrel says nothing. They look down at you, ever emotionless, despite what you have been through these past 6 years. You lay on the floor. Your arms and legs are bound to the perimeter of a circular sigil carved into the floor. The ropes strain tight as you convulse against them. You cannot think past the pain long enough to remember where you are or what is happening. Fire burns in your veins as you struggle, every atom of your being screaming in agony as you change. Hot blood burns the back of your throat and sears down into your lungs, momentarily silencing your screams as you choke on it. You can't remember.
That happens. I think he spits at Kestrel's face. Like blood.
They don't move. Your spit doesn't make it to their face, but they don't move. They just continue to stare down at you.
He had to try.
You're not sure if it's cruelty. You're never sure if it's cruelty. I think that instead you think it's a challenge. It's always a challenge with them. They're watching. They're waiting to see what you will become, if you will survive. In this
You
moment,
want to see what I'll become? I'll become a corpse! Let me out!
in this moment, you can't remember what you were before. For now, you are nothing but pain and rage and blood. You are distantly aware of a voice somewhere in the back of your mind urging you not to give up, to be strong, to see it through. But she's too far out of reach, and you're too far gone to heed it. It takes everything you have not to bite your tongue as you convulse once more, slamming your head under the cold stone. Blood pours down your face and into your eyes. You hear Kestrel's voice. You're not sure if it's right then or hours later, you just hear, "It's done." And red is the last thing you see before you once again slip into merciful unconsciousness. We move again to the future. Not too far ahead this time. Just a bit. We move from one stone chamber to another. In the middle of the night, a bedchamber. A familiar bedchamber. Our young protagonist angrily packs his things. A fresh bandage wrapped around his hand.
The music's a little loud.
I know, I keep trying to turn it down. Is that better? Okay, I think that's fine.
Maybe. Yeah, sounds better on my end, but
Okay, sorry.
that's the same.
And not all the volume is the same for all these, so every time I put on a new song, I have to adjust the volume a little bit. But at least it stopped
Totally get it.
fucking cutting my headphones out. Anyway, Alestain, you're in your room, in the middle of the night, a fresh bandage on your hand. What do you take with you? What do you leave behind in this place if your intent is never to return?
I think for a long time he angrily stares at the scar on his palm, this like disgusting like blackened scar and these blackened veins creeping up his left arm. And he reaches into a drawer and grabs some gauze and begins bandaging up his entire arm in an effort to not just cover up the wound, but hide all of the black veins. He wants nothing to do with this place. After tying that off, he tucks the rest of the gauze in a bag. And I think he reaches to grab his sword and hesitates for a minute, staring at the veins etched over its blade, and almost doesn't take it, but remembers he's going to need something to defend himself on the road. So he angrily grabs the sword and the scabbard and cinches it to his belt. He takes his, everything that was in his nightstand, his holy symbol, his supplies, packs, and maybe an extra set of an extra pile of rations that him and Amber had stolen over the years, and jams that into his bag before leaving.
Ever the orphan stealing rations when even they perhaps are not needed.
Listen, you got to do something for fun around the hold.
Is it quiet when you exit this place?
Yeah, it would have been late. So he's trying not to make any noise as he leaves.
You stalk the halls and do as you were taught. Step quiet, stay in the shadows, do not be seen. As you exit the front gates of this great fortress, it's snowing. It's always snowing in the Black Mountains. You're not sure, actually, if it's snow or ash, the volcano ever smoking. I think it's kind of a mixture between the two. Cold ash, warm snow, what's the difference? You step into the interior courtyard. I imagine heading for the stables?
Yes. Looking to grab a ride.
You make it.
He's already stolen all those rations. What's a
What's a
what's a
horse?
mount? Yeah.
You make it 10 feet into the courtyard. You feel her eyes as a prickle on the back of your neck before you hear her. Predatory, hawk-like, ever watchful. You're leaving. Not a question.
He says,
Keep it down. Yeah, I'm fucking leaving.
The voice comes from above. You turn. You follow the trees until there. Nestled in the branches is Gale, one of the only people left in this place you might call a friend. You see her small, gnomish form hidden amongst the foliage, her blue eyes reflecting the light of the moon. One question. Why?
What do you mean, why? You've seen how they treat us. We ain't kids. We ain't even people to them. We're numbers.
She considers, then nods. Correct. I understand. You won't be welcome back.
I wouldn't want to be.
Take the black horse. He fares better in the storm. Don't die.
You can come too, you know.
A small quirk of the lips. One of the only emotions she's ever prone to. You know I can't. Not yet.
All right, well, thanks for the tip, I guess.
Don't die
Guess
out
I'll
there.
see you around.
She does not move from her hiding place. The trees rustle a bit, but you think that she's sort of just hidden herself more up in the trees.
mm-hmm.
She doesn't quite. You see, next to her, sort of almost mounted on this branch is a crossbow about the size of her body. And I think as you get your horse, you saddle it up, you get your things, and you ride out of this place. I think you're lucky that one of your only friends was on guard duty that night.
I think as he's riding out, he looks over his shoulder again to see if he can see her looking back at him.
You can see, like a cat in the middle of a dark room, just the reflection of her eyes. She watches as you leave. Not many words exchanged, but between the two of you, words weren't always necessary. You know that she cares for you. In her way.
He doesn't want to leave her there, but he knows that he can't stay.
And she won't stop you. You quit this place. That's been your home for the past 6 years. The mountain path, familiar to you now. And you know the journey ahead of you will be hard. If your intent is to return home to Rian. So we have here Mount Cinderfall. Well, this is the map of Kala. Dragonhold is deep in the mountains, the Black Mountains in Mount Cinderfell. And to get to Rian, the capital of Kala, you must travel southward through the Valley of Endless Storms, which is an expanse of desert that is quite literal in its naming. It is a desert where an endless sandstorm rages. It makes travel quite difficult. And for those needing to travel north through Kala and south from Onari or Kasir, an outpost was established right at the edge in the center of the desert called Sentinel. It has since become a big part of travel through the country, and that is your first stop on your journey once you escape the raging sandstorm. Let me give you some better music. Here we go. Alestain has braved the Valley of Endless Storms before. 'Tis not his first rodeo. Sorry, I'm trying to fuck with this volume and make it like listenable but not overbearing. Tis not your first journey.
You're DJing.
Yeah. Anyway, you make it through the storm. Per Gale's advice, your horse weathers the storm well, and you took the time to be prepared. You took enough rations with you in case you got stranded. And along the path, it's not like no one travels through the storm. People have built outposts, sort of, not any permanent residences, but places to rest that give you small reprieve from the storm. It is these places you find, luckily, any kind of rest. Is Alestain the kind of person who dreams often or not at all?
I think it depends, especially when he's more stressed, which I imagine he's very stressed right now. He's more of a dreamer. Before we continue, by the way, when he was grabbing everything that was in his nightstand, I think that would have included any money he had. I don't know how much that would be though. You should tell me.
You've probably got like 50 gold.
Oh, okay. Is this are you doing like gold only, or are you doing silver and copper as well?
I think it's mostly gold, just to make it kind of like simpler.
Like I did.
Yeah.
Because it's simpler.
Yeah, because dealing with silver and copper can be, oh god, sorry. Every time a new song plays, I have to turn the volume down. Yeah, but fucking around with silver and copper just gets really tedious. So it's mostly just gold. But
just got a little pouch of gold. Got it.
Something that's something that you would know, and just for our audience to know as well. Kala is Rion is the capital. It is the trade capital of the world, and it is known for its gem mines. This land is rife with gemstones, and so in this country, gemstones are just as common currency as gold is. So I think that you've got about 50 gold's worth of money, but I think it's a combination of coins as well as different size and kinds of gemstones.
Okay.
So, yep, keep that in mind. So, you make your journey through the storm. You come out unscathed. There are monsters in there, but taking shelter in these sort of temporary abodes gives you any reprieve from sort of anything that would stalk unwary travelers. And as far as you're concerned, you're the scariest thing in that storm. It takes a few days.
I don't think he thinks that's true.
Well, maybe not. You make it to Sentinel. It takes you... Roll me a d4.
Oh.
First roll.
First roll. How slow are you? Oh, I got a 3. I'm 3 slow.
It takes you about 3 days to reach Sentinel. The storm raging can decrease the time. It depends on how quickly you're traveling, but taking Gale's advice, the black horse fares well.
To explain why it would take so long, also, I think he's maybe not, like, once he knows he's out of, like, easy retrieval range from Dragonhold, like, they're not going to be able to easily catch him. I think he starts kind of dragging his feet a little.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe spends some downtime making himself a new little dangly earring to replace the one currently in his left earlobe. He starts carving a little stone miniature dagger to dangle off that ear.
Give me... You don't have any kind of, like, tinker's tools or anything like that.
Just using whatever he can find,
give me,
plus
like,
a knife.
Give me, like, a sleight of hand check. You can
Okay.
You can use your proficiency.
Okay. I can use my proficiency?
Mm-hmm.
So add my proficiency bonus, you mean?
Mm-hmm.
In that case, 15. It would have been 13.
You create a not too bad looking little earring, something you might find at, like, one of the vendor stalls. And it fits in your ear, seems sturdy, doesn't seem like it's gonna crumble or break. Creating something that small out of a material that can crumble is a little dangerous, but you do well.
I think he probably just used, like, the little dangly he already had there. He just broke that off and used a little piece of flint and carved it into the shape of a dagger and dangled it from his ear.
All right, well,
Using that same chain.
you've got a new earring. You arrive in Sentinel. This outpost, this once little outpost town has become a fortress that a city has sort of cropped up around. It sits on a ledge, sits sort of on the edge of a canyon. Behind is the Valley of Endless Storms. Sentinel sits just outside the storm, a few miles out. They still get some gusts of wind and dust this way, but it's nothing compared to the heart of the storm. And just past this canyon, why you needed to stop in Sentinel and get a boat for the rest of the way to Rion, between Sentinel and the capital, is the Akoshan Sand Sea, an ocean where the sand moves like water, just as dangerous as a rough ocean. More so, perhaps, because it is sand, and there are, as you know, great monsters that lurk beneath the dunes.
Do they have, like, special vehicles to, like, navigate the sand sea, or?
It's a ship, but it's not quite a ship that you would sail on water, nor is it an airship. For and a little tidbit for our audience, you cannot fly an airship this deep into Kala, for it is in Helva, too close to the World Tree, where magic is tumultuous. So you must take the sand boat, the sand ship.
Can he take his horse with him?
You'll have to pay extra. The fare for one to Rion is 1 gold. If you wish to take your horse with you, it'll be 3 gold.
Does the horse have a name?
It's your horse.
Well, like, did it have a name before he stole it?
Black Horse, Midnight.
Midnight? Oh, okay.
You can
So,
change.
yeah, I guess that's cool.
You can change his name if you want. It's your horse now. You stole him.
He looks at his horse and he says, "What,
Do you like your name? Do you have a chosen name?"
The horse goes, "Pff."
I
Stomps his-
roll insight
himself.
to see if the horse likes its name.
Roll animal handling.
Okay.
Insight.
16. 14 plus 2.
The horse seems kind of indifferent. The horse seems like I could have a better name, but
It's like,
I got this one.
Well, I mean, if you don't love it, you could do like, I don't know. What do you name a horse? Gerald?
Are you naming him Gerald?
no, he's just throwing names out.
The horse doesn't like that one.
Oh, okay. How about Steve? You like Steve?
Are you paying the fare for your horse, or are you leaving him here? You can sell him. There are stables. You are able to. You can pay to stable him, or you can try to sell him if you'd like. If you don't want to pay his fare to the city.
No, he stuck it with him through the storm.
Mhm.
I think Alestain looks to see. So what's the situation here? Like who's in charge of this boat?
Oh, of the boat? Okay. Well, first
Yeah,
you
yeah,
have
like-
to. You've just arrived in the city, so
Oh, I don't know. You just made it sound like I was going to pay a fare.
you are. So
Okay.
Sentinel is, like I said, a fortress city. There's a giant fortress in the center where the city has kind of cropped up around it. And just on the far side of the city from where you entered, at the edge of the canyon where the sand sea meets, are the docks. And if you go there with your horse, see the dock master as you approach. There's a sort of a little house with, you know, when you go to buy tickets for somewhere like the Ren Fair, and there's like someone sitting inside a little, like almost like an outhouse with a window, and they've got like a ticket booth. There's like the dock master sort of sitting in a ticket booth. He's got a ledger in front of him, sort of a rotund man, kind of greasy, a lot of windswept hair and sun scarred face, couple rings on his fingers, kind of a heavy coin purse. You walk up to him. He says, "How can I help you?"
Says, "Oh, my trip's supposed to be comped. I'm the blood hunter being sent from the hold. I gotta get to Rion. There were problems with the contract. You know how it is. The council didn't outline all the details they needed. So you know, I'm being sent now to do correspondence with them. But to my understanding, my trip is comped. Yeah."
Roll persuasion. You have to beat a 9.
I got a 10.
Awesome.
I got an 8 plus 2.
He looks at you, kind of in takes in your appearance.
Oh wait,
What-
wouldn't that be deception?
That would have been deception. Is it the same?
Would have been 12.
You have
then.
the same charisma.
Nope.
Oh, you have okay.
I'm better at deception than persuasion.
You're right. All right. He buys it. He's like, he kind of looks at you and he's like, "Blood hunter, yeah. All right, maybe I did
Says,
hear
yeah,
something. Maybe I did hear something.
yeah, you know
about
how
that."
it goes. The council thinks they know everything about how to deal with these monsters and these big contracts, but you know, they never talk to the experts. They never do. So we always got to send a guy back to do direct correspondence. I honestly, it's ridiculous. I'm so sorry you got to deal with this.
As you made your way through the city, by the way, it's not. No one tries to hide the fact that they're gawking at you. Blood hunters are not unwelcome, but certainly not always the best upstanding members of society. You are outcasts that are sort of welcome on a sort of case-by-case basis into the cities.
He's kind of keeping his voice down while saying all this too, and kind of making sure the bandages on his arm are tight, trying not to catch too many eyes.
You've got your hood up over your horns.
Yeah.
Storm genasi as well are rare in these parts. Interesting that you're from a desert. The dockmaster holds out his hand. He says, 3 gold. You taking the horse? 3 gold.
Oh, no. I was told this was comped already. Like to my understanding, the council has paid for this trip, no?
You see, he kind of thumbs through his ledgers. He's, all right. Look, I don't see it here, but I'll take your word for it. I don't got time for this. You hear the bell tolling, meaning the ship's leaving soon. And you see he sort of looks between you and the ship, kind of rolls his eyes, and is like, kind of motions for you to go ahead. There's a line forming behind you.
Before he leaves, he puts a hand on the table between them and just says, "And listen, if you end up having trouble clearing that check with the council, hey, just pass the bill along to Dragonhold. Sorry, to Dragonhold, and in fact, if it doesn't clear, we'll cover 3 times the cost, and then the council will get back to you. Okay?"
He says 3 times the cost for one person on a ship and a horse.
Have you seen the size? Have you seen the size of this contract, buddy?
He says, frankly, no, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. I don't get paid enough to know what that is.
They're paying 10, 20 times our salary. Trust me, they're good for it.
You see, he makes a note and he says, "What was your name again?"
Kestrel.
Kestrel. Last name?
Oh, I don't got one.
Right. You blood hunters, fucking weird. You see, he writes that down. And you, all right, you are welcome onto the ship with your horsey. You see, it's not that large of a vessel, actually. This is a passenger vessel, not really a cargo hauler. It's specifically made to take people and sometimes animals to and from the cities. You see, this one goes direct to Rion. There are some that are take detours to Solaris, and some that even go as far as Sultan's Watch on the coast. But this one, luckily for you, goes straight to Rion. No delays. No layovers.
No layovers at the dig site? I don't know what else would be between us.
No, just ocean. However, give me a perception check.
Okay. Is this when my die is gonna fail me? 8 plus 2, 10.
Okay, that's enough. As you have kind of nothing else to do on this journey, you take in the sights as this small vessel makes its way through the sand sea. It feels very much like the ocean does. It's just drier, more dust kick up rather than salt spray. No seagulls in the air. Few days into the journey, as you know you're nearing Rion, you can see the mountains that lead to it in the distance. You pass in the distance, not too far. You see in one of the nearby mountains where a shelf of the mountain has collapsed into the sand sea. And you see, it's sort of like a rock slide. And you see, with your keen eyesight, the remnants of what was once a town. When you left this place, you know that is where the city of Quartzsite used to be. It was a mining town where a lot of the city's gems came from. You don't know when it fell into the sand sea or what happened, but as you pass by, it brings a sense of foreboding, maybe sort of a solemn sight as it's abandoned, left to the elements.
Fucking capitalists bleeding the town dry and then leaving it for dead.
A few days pass, and as you near the city, sorry, I gotta turn this down one more time. There we go. As you near the city, you lay down for the night. The sun, hot overhead during the day, is a little calmer at night. although it can bring a bit of a chill. Though you're used to chill in the snows of Mount Cinderfall. You bed down for the night, your horse having been taken to the cargo hold, so you're not resting together.
Old Steve.
Is that his name? Have you thought of a name? You have to
still trying to figure out the name.
You have to come up with his name by the end of the episode.
Okay.
That's your goal. That's your homework.
That'll be our first chat poll. No, it won't.
Oh,
actually.
no.
We'll say something stupid.
No. You bed down for the night. You find a quiet...
I think he is struggling to sleep, by the way.
You have a little passenger cabin. Not very big, sort of just large enough to fit a small cot, and with enough foot space to leave any bags. But for now, it's your space. As you lay there, you feel the sort of rocking of the ship, struggling to fall asleep. One moment you're awake, and the next, you're not sure. Could be a dream. You don't think you've been transported somewhere, but it doesn't feel quite real. You're in Rian, in a part of the city that you didn't frequent, so it's interesting that you can see it now in such vivid detail. It's the Temple District. You see in stark relief the Temple of Soul, the large statue of the goddess, arms spread wide so that when the sun rises, her arms cradle it as it casts over the city. And before you, at the entrance to the temple, is a woman. She's... well, you can't quite make out what she looks like. You can tell it's a woman. You can tell she wears the white and gold robes of a priestess of soul. You see tied back hair and dark brown skin, but her features are kind of obscured. You hear your name, though you don't see her lips move. And you see she turns and sort of beckons you into the temple. As she disappears beyond the threshold, you don't have a moment to follow her. As the ship hits a rock and rocks, you tumble onto the floor and are abruptly awoken. You see light shine through your window, and you hear the raucous noise of ships and people clamoring. You're arriving in Rian.
Is he like knocked out of bed?
Yeah,
like out of his cot?
You fall straight on your ass.
Says, fuck. And he takes a minute to like try to rack his brain for who that could have been that he saw in his dream. Did she look like anything like anyone he had ever seen, or?
She was wearing white and gold.
No, she was dressed like one of the priestesses, but like did she look like one of the priestesses at the orphanage, or
her features were very obscured. It was almost like she could have been anyone. Like she could have been, she didn't look specifically like any one person. It was very vague. It almost felt like the more you tried to sort of discern, the more her features kind of became blurred.
He's like, I bet it was fucking Bethany or some shit. That sister was always those sisters.
Bethany.
I don't know. I just said the first thing that came to mind.
Awesome.
I don't think he has a great opinion of the sisters. But no, he I'm sure gets up and like Is there a door to his?
Yeah, it's a small room, but it does have a door.
He cracks the door to look out and see like what all the commotion is.
You see people departing their rooms, and as you see out the window, you can see the docks as the ship starts to approach and prepare to dock at Kala or in Rian. People on the ship are sort of gathering their things and going out to depart the ship when it docks.
He gathers his things and he says, "Jesus, you pay for the—" I guess not Jesus, but Soul. You pay for the fucking. I guess you get what you fucking pay for. Cheap ass ride, cheap ass landing. And he grabs his things and heads out too.
Do you grab your horse?
Well, yeah.
Okay.
No, he leaves his horse.
Awesome.
They can keep it.
You grab your unnamed horse from the hold of the ship.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ride it into the city, or do you just sort of lead it?
I mean, is it a long walk?
Not from the docks. In fact, as you depart the ship, you see you have arrived in the city. Rian is a large city. It sits on an island with a river between the sand sea and the city. And the river sort of acts as a buffer between the ocean of sand and the actual water that allows sand ships to sort of disembark the sand, embark the water, and then dock. It's a very sort of interesting boat situation that happens there. As you arrive in the city, you see all the familiar sights and sounds of your childhood. There aren't too many boats on the docks today, but there are quite a few people. Let me pull up. Sorry. Okay, never mind. You see, as you step off the dock, there are a lot of people clamoring, talking. You see the long lines of people waiting to get into the city. Out here on the docks, you see immediately the warehouse district, where a lot of cargo is stored for people sort of just traveling and goods waiting to enter and exit the city. And you see the southern plaza with the tall aerodome towers that hold the many airships that bring passengers, cargo, and all sorts of things into the city from across the world, from the other lower continents, and from the mysterious, ever-elusive upper continents. The continents that float in the sky, where land dwellers are not welcome, but they've made an exception to trade with this city.
Oh, go ahead.
Nope, I was just going to say, you step onto the docks. There is... so you step onto the docks. It's about midday at this point. It's taken a little bit of time since your dream to wake up and sort of dock and depart. It's actually exactly midday. You arrive just in time to hear the bells chime. And I think that you take note of all of the many people who stop when the bell tolls. And they all lower their heads in prayer. And I think you remember the orphanage and the head matron and how she would beat you if you did not say your prayers to Soul at sunrise, midday, and sunset. And I think you sort of sit in that moment until the bell tolls again and everyone resumes their business. You've arrived back in the city that you grew up in. It's been 6 years. You know it's changed in some ways, though I'm not sure you know exactly how. You know the tyrannical sultan has been usurped, the rebellion led by his own niece to take the throne. The sultanship dissolved, where now the Council of Seven rules, an elected council. You see...
Was that before or after he left?
When you left, the war was going on, and it concluded while you were at Dragonhold. So you have not been to the city since the seating of the council. Where does Alestain go first?
So I think the first place he'd want to go is the orphanage, but I think he makes a stop along the way at an old tavern that him and his friends would frequent as kids to go visit who I assume is now the current owner.
So you make your way to Lowtown.
Mm-hmm.
I do not have a big map of Lowtown, but I can give you the gist. Sort of midday. Lowtown is the city under the city. This scene is sort of the entrance to the place. It is where people who do not wish to be disturbed dwell, in the waterways where they've made apartments into the stone foundations of the city. It is where orphans and beggars and thieves go to hide away from the law. Of course, the law knows of this place, but they don't often make their rounds down here. It is sort of, or at least when you left, was sort of left to its own devices. You make your way.
I think he's like keeping his eye on everyone around him. Since he's leading a horse, he's like expecting someone to try and like hop on it and ride away.
Mm-hmm. As you make your way into the city, do you stable your horse, by the way, or are you taking this horse into the city with you? You can.
How much would it cost him to stable it?
Gold a day. Well.
Okay.
A gold for a few days. We'll say 1 gold is like 4 days.
I want to haggle with the guy.
Okay, so you walk up to the stables. You cut in line in front of all the people who are waiting.
No, I don't cut in line. Come on, I don't do that.
Okay, so you get in line. There's a long line of people waiting to get into this city.
That's fine. He's got time.
Okay. You get in line. You see around you are all different kinds of people. Rion has always been kind of a melting pot. As the trade capital of the city, it has peoples coming from all over the world. And you see kind of in front of you is a mother and 2 little children. And they have a horse as well that they're waiting to stable. And behind you is a man who has what you would know to be an axe beak. It is a bird with 2 legs that is people are fond of traveling the sands with. It's called an axe beak. And so they're sort of idly speaking amongst themselves, waiting to stable their mounts. It takes a little bit. You see people coming and going all around you. This is one of the busier districts of the city, the Southern Plaza. Across the way, you see the Roiling Tide Tavern, somewhere that perhaps you have not frequented, but a tavern you know is popular with people who are sort of just stopping in off the city or off the docks to not sort of go into the city, but make their way elsewhere. There is a wall. There are 3 gates to enter the city. And so people are waiting in line to be allowed admittance. But as a resident here, you are sort of able to enter and go. There's sort of like an express lane, is what I'm saying. As long as you have your papers you're sort of free to come and go.
Okay. He has papers?
Did you keep them? I'm sure they would have
If he had them, he would have kept them.
They would have given them to you. You have papers for entering and leaving the city. It does just say Alestain, though. You do not have a last name.
So is he toward the front of the line now?
Yeah,
or?
so let's it takes a little while. You're in line for probably 30 minutes and you make it to the front of the line. You see kind of a stocky elven guy. He sort of seems to be taking care. He sort of seems to be the stable hand, and like the guy, like the stable master, seems to be like dealing with something, like arguing with someone kind of in the background. So you see this kind of like tired, scrawny, like stable hand. He's kind of covered in mud. His hair is kind of wild. His eyes are like a little red. And he sort of looks up at you and he's like, "Are you stabling?" Or
I think he immediately wants. I want to run like, I don't know, an insight check, some kind of roll to see if this dude deals at all with the criminal underworld at all, and if he could drop some hints on him, if he would pick up on them.
Go ahead and roll. That's interesting. Go ahead and roll me
like if there's any signs on him.
Roll me a perception. Roll me a perception check.
Would that not be insight?
It would be perception.
Okay. 9?
Okay. You don't see any of the telltale sort of discrete codes to signal to other people that you might be a fence or a thief or any sort of thing like that. So you're not sure.
Can I do something to maybe try to hint it to him?
What do you say?
Can I like turn my head and like before I start speaking to him, like conveniently turn my head to look somewhere else, flashing him that dagger earring?
You see you see his eyes dart to your ear and then back, almost sort of like he didn't want to be caught staring. And you see he sort of he gives you a subtle like dip of his chin, but no other acknowledgement. And he says, and then he sort of is like, "Are you stabling your horse?"
He's like, yeah, I was hoping that we could come to an agreement here.
You see he sort of he puts his hand into his pocket and sort of fishes something out. It's like a pocket watch. You see he looks at it and he looks at you, kind of looks at the line behind you. He goes, "Follow me." And he turns around and he sort of takes you inside the the stable master's office. The stable master, not in there. Again, he is like off to the side, like having a very loud argument with like this dragonborn man about what can and cannot be stabled here. You see this man has sort of a large like crab, like sort of crustacean-esque creature. You truly never seen before in your life. Anyway, you walk past that.
It's a mount or it's a person?
Well, you don't know. You kind of walk right past it.
Okay.
You can investigate further if you'd like, or you can follow this man into the office. Well, you're not sure if it's sentient. It looks like a giant sort of crustacean. Either way, you oh god, sorry. every time it switches, it gets so loud. Anyway, you follow him into the stable master's office. He closes the door behind you, and he sort of takes the ledger out, and he says, "Well, it's 1 gold for 4 days of holding."
He says, "I thought we had an agreement. It's a gold for 7 days."
7.
You know, for particular worksmen.
Give me a persuasion check.
You said that was persuasion?
Mm-hmm.
You sure it wouldn't be deception?
I'm positive it's persuasion.
That would have been a 10. But it could have been a 12.
He says, right. I see here. And he doesn't even pretend, like, he's not even looking at the ledger as he flips to a page. He says, oh yes, right here. All right then, that's fine. 1 gold for 7 days. He holds out his hand.
I think he thinks to himself, I can't believe that fucking worked.
He says, I'll need your name and the name of your mount.
Have we landed on a name? Chat, what do you think?
Do you want me to run a poll for the name?
I don't know. I don't know if it should be a poll because I don't trust these idiots. They're gonna be like, name him Fart Head or something.
All right. I mean, Lisa's horse's name is Carl. I don't know that you can get worse than Carl.
We could do like some cute name based on Obsidian.
Are you planning on keeping this horse?
Obi.
Well, you're paying to keep him stabled, so.
I mean, it's a whole ass horse. Why not?
Yeah.
I might need it later.
That's true.
I mean, I assume I pay the fee like when I come retrieve the horse, right? Since it's based on the number of days.
Mm-hmm.
Obsidian, Obi for short. I do like Obi.
That's cute.
This says Alestain, horses Obsidian. And he looks at the horse to like, again, try to gauge like what the horse thinks of the name.
You look well. You're in an office that you did not bring the horse into. So the horse is outside, but you can open the door and see what the horse thinks.
He like closes his eyes for a second and really like focuses his mind to try and mind meld with the horse, and he's just like, do you like Obi? Do you like Obi?
Alestain has a psychotic break. And you know what? Roll a D100.
What?
The DC's 100.
That's not how DC works, but okay.
The DC's 100.
I got an 8.
Yeah. You don't know. It's a horse. You're sure it's fine. In fact, you're pretty sure the horse loves it, actually.
He just has Obsidian. He doesn't actually care that much.
Okay. All right. The guy takes your name and the horse's name, leads you back outside, sort of hands Obsidian's reins to one of the other stable hands who walks off, and you see he kind of writes you a little like a receipt almost, just kind of a little we have your horse. This is the date that you need to pay by, otherwise you forfeit your horse. And he hands that to you.
Well, like what if he's just gone for a few weeks though? Do they just take it?
Well, you'll incur fees.
Yeah, it's a gold per week, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If you're planning on being gone for a few weeks, you're gonna have to pay more than a gold.
Yeah. Yeah, they shouldn't take it though. I don't want them to take him.
Well, pay your fees.
Is it a boy horse or a girl horse?
Are you gonna check?
Wait, I don't know.
It's a boy. It's a boy.
Okay. I was with this horse for like a week and I don't know.
You don't know. You never checked. You never asked. You don't know how to speak to horses. You're not sure. He's horse gender.
I think I probably would have noticed whether I liked it or not. I don't know if you've ever seen a horse in person.
Yeah.
But anyway.
They're big horses.
Okay.
This is taking really long. You stable your fucking horse.
I'm just making sure they're not gonna be like, oh, it's been 3 weeks. It's our horse now.
No. You'll incur fees. I think you have to be gone for quite a while before they can say like, we're taking the horse. But when you come to pick him up, there's a fee. There's a late fee. There's a 2 gold late fee. It's one horse. It's one horse. It's 1 gold per week now that you've haggled it down. But if you're late, it's an extra 2 gold for every week that you're late.
Wait, 2 gold?
Yeah.
But that's not how 1 gold per week works.
Yeah. It's a late fee. They can charge however much they want.
So wait, when does the late fee happen?
Oh my god.
Wait, like how many weeks in does this become a thing?
You owe them a gold at the end of the week. If you are late to pay that by more than a day, your fee will then be 3 gold. And if you are then late again, your fee will then be 4, 5, 6 gold. Does that make sense?
So it's not 1 gold a week. It's 1 gold for a week, and then you have to get it and take it away.
Unless you pay them more money, yes.
Okay, that was the misunderstanding. You were saying 1 gold a week, as in like
well,
he can stay there however long.
Yes. Okay. If you are going there and being like, I'm gonna be gone for several weeks, you will pay however much gold it is for those weeks. So it'll be 1 gold a week for however many weeks you're wanting to stable it for. But if you're saying, I'm just leaving him here for a week, and then that week passes and you don't show up, there's a late fee.
Oh, no. I think he's saying he's thinking
I hate
anywhere
this.
between like
I hate that I've made this up. I wish I never made this up. I absolutely hate this. This is so.
Well,
this is completely nuanced of an honest.
What the hell the rules are?
Okay, you owe. How many weeks do you want to leave this horse here?
I don't know yet. I didn't know I had to have that. I think he's like, can I do it for like a week to a month?
Yes, that's fine. The guy's like, whatever.
Okay.
The guy writes on the slip a week to a month, and he gives it to you.
Okay. Great.
Roll me perception. Roll me a perception check.
He like fucking was like, and also give me 50 gold also on the fucking thing or something. Dude, I'm perceiving the shit out of this. 16 plus 2.
Awesome.
16.
As you walk out the door, the guy under his breath says like, don't come back. Like kind of as like a like almost like a prayer. He's kind of like, please don't fucking come back. Like I hope you die somewhere and leave this horse here.
He's like, yeah, I know, I got a pretty cool horse. You're jealous of it.
Do you say that to him?
No, he says it under his breath.
Okay, awesome. Natural 20. He definitely heard you, but he chooses to let it go. He's gonna be the bigger man. Anyway, you get the fuck out of this stable.
He totally knows the guy overheard him and he does a jerk off motion.
Awesome. You leave. Your horse looks a little bit sad to see you go, but he's okay. Do you give him any pats before you leave? Maybe like a carrot or something?
Yeah, I give him a little pat and a little oat cake.
Aw. Your horse bond increases by 1. No,
I'm too much Red Dead.
I'm just kidding. Yeah, we've been playing Red Dead Redemption. Okay. Anyway, so you stable your goddamn horse, and then you go.
Listen, you're the one that made it complicated, okay?
I tried to make the world more like real, and I regretted it immediately.
I am all here. I am totally down to fucking bitch back and forth at a shopkeeper.
Anyway.
But that's your decision.
So you enter into the city. The stables were closer to the east gate, but you know the closest entrance to get to Lowtown would be the north gate. Although it's not of particular importance. Although if you enter the east gate, it'll be closer to the orphanage. So if you're planning to stop at Lowtown first, it'd probably be quicker to go through the north gate.
Okay. I mean, he's just trying to get to the tavern.
Right.
I mean, whichever route gets him there the quickest, and then he's going to the orphanage.
You take the express lane through the gates. The guards look at your papers, look at you, look at your papers, look at you. Kind of do that little squint, like you got a haircut and they can't recognize you anymore. And then they give you your papers.
He also
and let you
is
in.
6 years older.
That's true. Yeah. Well, there's not like a picture of you. It's just like
Oh, okay.
it just has like your description. So you enter the gates. How does it feel to be back in the city after so long?
I think Alestain's not like super plugged in to politics, especially while he was at Dragonhold. But he knows that the council has taken over. And I don't think he was ever fully sold that like the council was going to solve things. He kind of sees it as, well, now it's just, you know, multiple corrupt people instead of one. So I think he's looking around to see like if the city has changed at all from when he knew it.
Yeah.
Obviously before he's gotten into Lowtown, he's expecting things look nice up here, but
Right. You see, as you make your way through Lowtown, you actually see several flyers that are kind of posted up around the city. And you get one kind of like gets caught on your foot, so you like pick it up. And it says it is indicating the construction of a new natural history museum in the East End. The flyer boasts about new finds from deep in the Valley of Endless Storms, courtesy of the Archaeologists Guild. And you see at the bottom in big red letters it says coming soon, but there's no like specific date or anything indicating when soon is. And as you take a look around, you do notice it becomes more prevalent the closer to the East End you get, but it's a bit of the Temple District as well. These Midtown and north through Providence have always been nicer looking buildings. East End and the Temple District are more sandstone constructed, sort of like a lot of like what are they called? Those fucking, not like blankets, but like sort of like banners and tapestries hung to keep light out and to kind of protect from the heat. Buildings that were made for the desert and not to look pretty. But a lot of them were old, kind of dilapidated, and a lot of them were abandoned the last you were here. However, as you pass through kind of around the Temple District to get to the entrance to Lowtown, you do see construction being done on several of these buildings here. A lot of the worse ones have been not remodeled, but sort of just renewed. It looks like there is some amount of effort being put into the reconstruction of the city.
He sees all that and he rolls his eyes and says,
Oh, good. Gentrification.
You make your way to the entrance to Lowtown. There are several entrances to Lowtown, as it is the city underneath the city. But the main one, and the one closest to the tavern that you're headed to, is in Midtown. This entrance is just sort of a gate, like an iron gate that you push open that has stairs descending downward into darkness. Very dim lamps kind of on the walls. So you're heading to Lowtown. And as you are sort of approaching the nearest gate, you know, that heads down below, something interesting happens.
uh-oh.
On your way, and actually, guys, we're gonna have our first poll. First poll in the first episode. Hell yeah. So everybody get your poll fingers ready.
Okay.
The way you vote, the way we vote in polls is the poll will appear. You will vote. You'll press 1 or 2 in chat to vote which option you want, and whichever you guys vote on is what will happen. So, Alestain.
You all know how it's done.
Yeah. Well,
it's been a few years though. So
yeah, it's been a while. Just in case you need a little
refresher.
reminder. Alestain, I hate myself. Anyway, on your way to Lowtown, somebody runs past you. And it actually looks like they are running directly up to you. Now, chat, is this child a boy or a girl? Pretty simple, I think.
Oh my god. The first poll is you have to assign someone a gender.
Mm-hmm.
We're Pokemoning you boys.
Are they a boy or a girl?
Professor oaking them.
Absolute gender time, boys. I'm sorry there's no third option.
Assigned gender at poll. Hey, Gab.
Hell yeah. It seems like we almost have unanimously girl. But I'll give it a little bit and see if anybody else wants to vote. That's crazy.
Chat
Everybody
hates men.
Fuck men. Absolute fuck men. Am I right?
This would probably be a good time to mention it, just because like I don't think it's literally ever gonna come up again, mainly because I don't think it should. But just for the queer folks in the chat, I feel like you'll enjoy this. I think it just fits with his story, Alestain's story, just like his whole vibe and like, you know, his whole like thing. Just I feel like he's a trans man. I don't expect it to come up at any point, which is why I'm bringing it up now, because I don't think there's like a smooth way to bring that up.
I probably wasn't gonna mention it.
Yeah, I just wanted to say it for folks in the chat because I feel like they would appreciate that. So.
That boy's trans.
I just feel like it just you know, it just feels like it fits with his like whole like story arc.
Yeah, I agree. And also, fuck yeah, trans people. As a trans person myself, hell yeah. All right. It's been a little bit, and I think everyone who's gonna vote has voted, so I'm gonna go ahead and finish the poll. Unsurprisingly, unanimously, girl won. All right, so put the chat back. All right. So,
oh my God, Gail, how'd you get here?
Yeah, I followed you.
She's somehow faster than him to get there.
So, as you see a young girl run up, it kind of all happens really fast. So you don't get too good a look at her. But you see the child sort of runs up, and like this all happens in a matter of like 3 seconds. She puts a bag into your hand and says, "Hold on to this for me," and runs away. What do you do?
I mean, so this is in Lowtown, right?
You're not there yet. You're sort of on the edge.
Like she's coming out of Lowtown?
No, she actually seemed like she came from Midtown.
So he's immediately running a bunch of calculus in his head here, because like one of two things could be true. This could be like actually like she's trying to stash like stolen goods, or she could be planting him for a mark. So I think you'd first want to like see like what her deal seems to be, like if you can gather any like information about her just by looking at her.
She's gone. She is fully away from you. She has disappeared.
And then he immediately looks around his surroundings.
You are
see if she's being chased.
You are at the entrance of Lowtown, and about a couple seconds after she disappears into the alleys behind you, you do see 2 guards run up. And you see they are sort of looking around, and one of them says, have you seen a child with a bag of jewels around here?
And so she put that in his hand.
Yeah.
I think he immediately, upon seeing those people appear, stashed it in his bag.
Oh, little criminal.
And he doesn't think that they'll know, but he still like kind of angles his face, the left side of his face, a little bit away from these 2 people.
To hide the
so they were
earring.
guards.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's 2 guards.
And he says, "Sorry, little girl."
You see, one of them's like, yeah, a little girl, small, female.
I've seen a lot of kids
Had a
today.
bag.
I mean, do you have any other descriptions or what?
God, you're wasting my time. They both run away.
All right, I'm trying to be helpful, but
absolutely unhelpful. They run away. After they leave, what do? You still have the bag?
He immediately searches for like a kind of quiet nook to look at what's in the bag.
You sort of sidle up next to, there's sort of an alcove dip in the wall, sort of near the entrance of Lowtown. The entrance, by the way, is it's a gate that's built into the sort of brick foundation of the high part of the city. So above you, sort of up on the cliffside, you can see Providence, the high part of the city, and you are sort of entering into the depths below. But so there's sort of alcoves in the walls along here, and a lot of pillars in the temple district.
So it's kind of like a secluded away. He could check it discreetly.
Yeah, you can make a perception check and see if no one's looking.
Okay.
Or you can take your chances.
13 plus 2. 15.
Yeah. You don't see anyone around. You look in the bag?
Yeah. He checks it.
You
carefully, expecting it to fucking explode.
You carefully untie the string. Open the bag. There's a bunch of jewels inside. Do you pull one out to inspect it? Or how deep are you investigating this?
So you said he uncinches it and it just looks like jewels.
Mm-hmm.
Then yeah, looks them over. Investigation.
Yeah, give me an investigation check.
You open the bag and there's a gun.
There's a gun.
12 plus 2.
Okay.
Do I get advantage because this has to do with the undead? No.
14.
It's cursed jewelry. No. So interestingly, the first couple of jewels that were on the top of this bag are plastic. It's costume jewelry, or they're like costume jewels. However, below that, there are actual real jewels. And all in all, you'd say this is about 20 golds worth of jewels. And you know that it is kind of common for people to stash,
kind of use fake jewels to like get more money for a trade or something.
Yes. A lot of well, it could be for a lot of reasons. It can be to make your coin purse look bigger, if you're trying to appear like more wealthy. It could be to prevent theft. If they open it and think, oh, it's fucking costume jewelry, just toss the whole bag and like, or return it or something. And so you know that this is kind of a common like thing in the city. And as
I was gonna say, I think unless he's still investigating. Is he still investigating?
No, I think you've kind of finished.
Okay.
Finished
I just didn't know if you had more. Okay. I think he recinches it and kind of like tosses it in the air once and catches it, and he says,
Smart kid.
and tucks it back in his bag.
As you go to tug it back in your bag, you feel a hand grab your wrist, and you turn around, and the little girl's right there, and she goes, "I said hold on to this for me, not keep it."
Yeah, I was just about to come looking for you, kid.
And as you have a moment to look at her, you recognize this girl, Alestain. You see familiar feathers and a familiar claw-tipped fingers. And you
Feather!
See your old friend Feather. Always scamming people. Midtown was her hunting ground. And you see she sort of is like kind of more focused on the bag, and then you see she kind of like looks up and like kind of does like a double take, and then she kind of like looks at you and is like, Alestain?
It says, in the flesh.
Yo, what the fuck? I thought I saw some.
Yo, what the fuck?
I saw
So
some.
we're ditching all ideas that this is high fantasy at this point. What the fuck,
Yo,
dog?
what the fuck, dog?
This shit's whack.
She at first, you see there's a brief like hesitance of like, cause as she like takes in your new appearance, and then kind of like thinks, she kind of has this like, what the fuck am I doing, and gives you a hug.
He hugs her back and he's like,
Glad to see you learned a thing or two under us.
She and indeed she is quite a bit older than she was the last time you saw her. Feather was a little bit she was one of the younger members of your little posse. So you were about 14. She was probably like 10 or 11. So
she's like 15, 16.
She's still
or no,
only
16,
like
17.
Yeah, she's like 16. And she's like, I thought you died. Like, she kind of is like, those guys. She's like, what the fuck? Those guys. Isn't that what happened? Those guys came and they like bought you and they sold you the meat market or something?
He says,
I can catch you up on everything later, but I guess you could say I kind of died. Lived some lives between then and now.
She's like, well, what the fuck? You gotta tell me about it. What the hell? You're back? Like, where's Amber? Did she come with you?
he kind of eyes the Lowtown entrance and he's like,
Here, I'll tell you on the way. I got business in Lowtown.
She goes, okay.
And as he says that, he pulls out a cigarette and puts it between his lips.
Damn.
And he snaps his fingers, and you see a small lightning bolt go to from his fingertips to the cigarette, lighting it. You hear a small crack of thunder.
Damn, sexy. You come here often?
Says,
Come on, we gotta go see Dandelion.
Damn. You see, she kind of looks at you like, and then she sees the cigarette. She goes, you ain't changed. I was worried. She kind of pushes you in the shoulder a little bit and finds that you're like sturdier than you used to be, and just kind of like, whatever.
She doesn't notice the big ass sword on my hip.
Well, yeah, she's kind of like, damn, like you're all decked out. Like, what the fuck happened to you? Like she's asking, but then when you were like, oh, like I'll tell you on the way, you say, oh, I have business to take care of in Lowtown. She says, you see, you guys kind of walk to the entrance, and she kind of stops you, and she's like, you're gonna find him. Is that why you're back? I knew you ain't changed. You're gonna find him, aren't you? That's why you came back. Did they call you all the way from wherever the hell you've been? What happened to you? Wait, are you taking contracts? That's why you're back, right?
He says,
Yeah, I'm totally here to find them. Quick question. Who am I here to find?
And you see, like, she was, like, really excited at the prospect of, like, whatever this was. And you see, when you say, like, who am I fighting? She kind of, like, her excitement dims. And she says, she kind of takes a step back and she says, you don't know. You don't know yet.
He says, they don't tell us much where they kept me. I'm trying to catch up right now.
Okay. Shit. Maybe it's best Dandelion tells you. Or, I don't know. Yeah, yeah, Dandelion will, follow me. And you see she, nervously, leads you into Lowtown.
He follows and he says,
How are the rest of the kids, by the way? How's Haggis? How's Boot?
You see she kind of nervously is like playing with her claws. She says, yeah, things, you know, they was hard when you and Amber left, but, you know, we had to step up and all. And, you know, the head matron, she was, you know, without Amber there. Look, the hidden gem is right up here. And the two of you descend into Lowtown. You see the cold, no matter how hot a day it is, in Rion, it is always a little bit cold in Lowtown. It is the sewer system here. It is the waterways. It is kind of, you are in the earth, and the earth is cold in this area, sort of surrounded by the sea. She leads you to, there's a door, a sort of nondescript door in the side of the wall. You see very few people sort of milling about down here, a lot of them hooded, people sort of keeping to themselves, a couple people sort of huddled together in small corners. It's quiet down here, and if it's quiet enough, you can hear the distant rush of the waterways in the walls.
So does he still have that bag of money and gems?
Oh, she definitely took that back from you. But
I think as they're walking, he says,
Here, let me hold on to that. They're still on your trail, kid.
give me a persuasion check. With advantage.
because they know her face.
'cause this is
He
your
doesn't want
friend.
her to get caught.
You can have advantage because this is your friend.
13 plus 2, 15.
She kind of side eyes you. It's like, yeah.
He's
okay.
like, come on, you know Dandelion is safe. We can leave it with her, and you can pick it up later.
Yeah, right, fine. And she hands it to you. You can add 20 gold to your inventory if you plan to keep it.
No, I'm not planning to keep it.
Okay.
He's gonna drop it off with Dandelion.
Okay.
Just until, so like, you know, if she gets stopped, they can't like pin anything on her.
And speaking of Dandelion, as you enter this sort of nondescript door, there's not even a sign on the wall to indicate that this is any sort of establishment. But you walk in, and from the sort of stark contrast from the cold stone exterior of Lowtown, you walk into a warm, dimly lit tavern. There is kind of soft tavern music playing. There's two hearths on either side of the room with a crackling fire, chimneys that head up towards the upper city. You see a lot of, it's not a big tavern. It's kind of a small, intimate space. There's a few tables around, and behind the bar, tending to sort of a man sort of hunched over, is wearing a dark cloak. You see a small goblin woman with just a mess of bright sort of yellowish hair that is like all like it's yellowish like greenish. It's sort of like dark green, and it sort of fades to like a yellowish, and she's got it all like mounded up on her head. It's like wrapped up in a cloth. And you see her eyes are kind of they're bright yellow, but she kind of has that like face where they're always a little bit closed, so you can't quite see them all the time. She's got this. She's very small. The bar is actually lower than it typically is, so that it's about her height. She made this establishment to accommodate her and smaller folk, and if other people want to come here, they have to deal with it rather than her getting a stool for herself.
He's is it like the ceiling is low too, or?
Yeah, a little bit. It's not low where you have to crouch, but it's lower than you would expect.
He's watching the exposed beams, making sure he doesn't bang his head.
Yeah. And you see as she sort of turns, she's got this sort of like shaggy dress, sort of shawl on. She's got these like gloves, and you see her tail, long and green, has just a poff on the end of yellow fur, attributing to her orphanage name Dandelion. She doesn't immediately look up from the patron she's serving. She seems to be having kind of a hushed conversation. Without looking up, she says, "Grab a seat, I'll be with you in a minute." And goes back to her conversation.
They grab a couple seats at the bar, I suppose.
Feather kind of makes like a beeline for the bar, and sits down, and you see she does that. She like almost like perches on the chair. Her feathers are kind of ruffled a bit. She seems very anxious.
He puts a gold on the bar to indicate they're ready to buy something.
All right, let me pull up. Sorry, I have a little scene for this. There we go. So you take a seat at the bar, and you see Dandelion kind of finishes up her conversation, and she kind of walks over. She sees Feather. She notices Feather first. Feather has kind of what color feathers does she have?
I was just picturing like lots of blues and light blues. She's because of the kind of colorful plumage, she sort of is eye-catching, and so Dandelion sees her first, and she kind of saunters over. She's like, "Oh, hey, Feather, what's up?" And then she kind of turns to see you, and she puts her paw on the counter and onto the gold coin and drags it towards her. And then she does a double take at you, because at first you're kind of like, that was weird, and then you're kind of like, she doesn't remember me, or she doesn't recognize me, and she's doing a weird asserting dominance thing, and then she kind of looks at you and she goes, "Hang on, you's not who I think you are."
Says, "Depends, who do you think I am?"
She goes, "You gotta be shitting me. I thought you was sold to the meat market. What the hell? Alestain, you alive?"
He says, "Sorry, they only take prime cuts there, apparently."
She goes, "Damn, yeah, your ass is rotten. No one want to eat you." Oh, God, sorry. This song specifically, every time it comes on, it's so loud. And she goes, "What the hell? You back? You've been gone? How many years has it been? Look at you. What the hell? Stand up." She gets on top of the counter and she goes, "Stand up. How tall are you? Let me look at you." Do you stand up?
He
says, "Come on, Dandelion, we don't gotta do this right now.
No,
Listen,
yes,
I'm
we
here on
do.
business."
She turns to Feather and she looks at Feather. She goes, "What the hell? What the hell is this guy talking about? We don't gotta do this right now. You look like you sprouted like a goddamn oak tree." And she's she starts pulling at your cloak a little bit, "What the hell?" She
All right, come on. I ain't washed this cloak in a few days now. Don't touch it. Don't get too close. It might stink a little.
She goes, yeah, you always were smelly. That's what I like about you, Alestain. You see, she kind of like crawls back. She's a weird little goblin. She like crawls back behind the counter. And then like, she kind of goes, all right, well, what the hell? Do you want something to drink? And she like takes notice that Feather's plumage is kind of like big, and she goes, why are you nervous? What the hell's going on? Do we gotta talk?
So I think he's worried about like bringing up something upsetting to Feather. And he says, all right, Feather, I get that you're older now, but I ain't gonna be party to underage drinking, okay? So you're not allowed ale, you're not allowed none of that, but get whatever you want that's non-alcoholic.
She goes, yeah, okay. Just my usual. And Dandelion goes, oh, your usual? All right. And she puts a beer on the counter.
All right, Dandelion, you and I are gonna have a talk later, okay?
She goes, what the fuck did I do? She asked me the usual. She holds up the gold. She goes, she paid me. What the fuck are you talking about?
He takes the beer and he says,
How about a lemonade for the kid?
She goes, lemonade? God, where the hell you been? Fancy. You think I got lemons down here? Wait, hold on. I might have lemons.
You don't got lemons in a bar?
You see, she like goes behind the counter. She opens a barrel and just starts throwing. Like, she's got like a bunch of different shit in one crate. It's like a potato, some cabbage, a carrot. There's like an orange that's moldy. And she goes, and she kind of stuffs that like into her pocket. And then she kind of like keeps going, and at like the very bottom there's like a really like fucked up like squished lemon, and she goes, yeah. And then she goes to the counter and cuts it up, and just kind of puts all the slices into a glass and pours water on top of it, and then she puts that in front of Feather. She goes, there you go, yeah, Lowtown lemonade.
He says,
Listen, Feather,
you see that booth back there? And he indicates like any empty booth in the bar, in the tavern.
You see
says,
her like instincts kick in, and she like turns to look at it.
And he says,
how about you hold that first for just a sec? We'll be over in just a minute. I want some privacy when we discuss where I've been.
Oh, yeah, okay. Well, I want to know where the hell you've been too. You're not going to tell her without me, right? Or you're at least going to tell me after, because I got to you first. It's not, she didn't. This was an us thing.
No, I know. I got to talk business with Dandelion real quick, but I'll catch you up in that booth.
All right. But if you flake again, I'm going to kick your ass. And she kind of like, she talks big and then kind of like very timidly like makes her way to the booth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And after she leaves, Dandelion's like, she didn't even take a drink.
He said, he's like, don't worry, I'll take it to her in just a sec. And he leans in on the bar, and I think maybe forgets for a second to like cover up his super bandaged arm underneath the cloak. But he leans in close to Dandelion and says,
all right, give it to me straight, Dandelion. What's going on with Haggis and or Boot?
Oh, you're like fresh in town, huh?
Hot off the trail, yeah.
All right, okay. You see, she kind of, she looks at the other patron at the end of the bar, and she goes, yeah, go take a walk. And he kind of turns to her, and she goes, take a walk. And he like gets up and
yeah, like, when he hesitates, he turns to him. He's like,
you don't want to piss her off, buddy. Trust me, I've been there.
She like smiles, and her teeth are just all sharp and like yellow. And the guy's like, all right.
You'll get an infection if she bites you.
He's like, all right. Jesus, god damn, can't get a drink around here or nothing. He gets up and like leaves. And you see she kind of leans into it and she goes, well, look, I'm gonna be honest with you, kid. It's not good. All right, so just, do you want a drink first? It might help. Let me get you a drink.
I mean, he's still holding on to the beer.
She goes, let me get you a drink. What do you got a beer? What's wrong with you? And you see she takes out like some like absolutely clear liquor, and pours it into like
vodka.
Like it smells like insane. It smells like pure rubbing alcohol. And she pours it into a glass, and kind of scoots it to you. And she says, "Yeah, drink that, and then we can talk." And she pours what she doesn't even pour herself a glass. She just like takes a swig from it.
He doesn't know if he can trust that Dandelion's not gonna hit him with something crazy strong. Can I like do some kind of check to see if I'm gonna be able to handle this?
If you want to drink it, you're gonna have to take a constitution. You're gonna make a constitution saving throw. If you want to decide beforehand if it's something that's gonna fuck you up immediately, you can make like a perception or like an investigation check.
I think he looks down at it and looks back at her and he's like,
I want to make sure I hear this clear. I'll drink it after.
She goes, yeah, okay. And then she takes it and she takes yours as well. And then like puts the glass back and she goes, I'll pull you another one later. She goes, you ain't paid me yet anyway.
he takes another drag.
But she gets kind of, Dandelion has a hard time being serious. That's something that you know about her. She does business, and she can be real scary, but with people that she loves, it's kind of like she uses humor to kind of hide when she's in pain. And so, but you see she actually kind of gets really serious about this. She says, about, God, it's like probably like a week ago at this point. Something real weird happened, Alestain. Now, I don't even really know everything that happened, cause I weren't there. But I hear things, and she's got big furry ears, with several like little piercings in them, and she kind of indicates to her ears, and she goes, I hear things. I got my ear to the floor.
Says it's not that far away from where it currently is.
She pulls out a knife and stabs it into the countertop. She goes, I'm not done talking. Lovingly. And then she but she goes, and so Cyrus, you might want to talk to him. He might be able to tell you like kind of more about what happened, or I don't know, but he's on the council now? Anyways, God, I got a lot to catch you up on. You ain't been here. What the hell happened to you? What do you want to talk about first? You want to tell me what happened to you first?
Dandelion, focus.
What?
Are they okay?
Define okay. Actually, don't define it, because I don't know. And the thing is that nobody knows. They went missing, Alestain. A lot of them. Well, not a lot of them. Not everyone. Just, Oasis.
Both of them?
Well, a little more than both of them. Oasis, you remember. Oh, wait, was that after you left? Shit, I can never remember. Oasis, your little group. After, I think it was after you and Amber left. Haggis, Feather, Boot, they recruited some of the younger members, and they started calling themselves Oasis. Shit, what was it? It's like some stupid acronym. You know how kids are. The Orphan Adventurers and the Secret Investigators Society, I think it was. They run around pretending to be heroes, doing work for for me, for Cyrus, for who, And she sort of, there's a pile of rags on the counter that she sort of indicates to. And she says, like, for you know who, whether they knew it or not. But anyway, they, all of them orphanage kids, right? They were missing overnight. Feather didn't go missing. She was here. She was running an errand for me, so that night she went at the orphanage. But she got back, and the place was like torn apart, and the head matron was unconscious, they said, something like that. I think she was bleeding. And all the Oasis kids were missing. Now, people been saying they did it. You know, they had enough. They left. But you and I know you, and I know that you know that they didn't do shit like that. They wouldn't just up and leave. Unless they had something to go looking for, but I don't know. It's real weird. The council...
So did she say the matron was dead?
No, she was just unconscious.
Okay, so the matron might know what happened too.
She says the matron was arrested. Taken for questioning, you know. She's up at the stockade up in Providence. The new lawmasters got her and the owner. Sorry, I'm not good at this accent. Her and the owner for questioning, and they got some real fancy types investigating the place, but you know, so as far as I can tell, they don't know what the fuck happened. So
he says, and if they're anywhere near as useless as they used to be, they're not gonna find out.
Exactly. Now, anyway, so that's what happened. Poor Feather, she's been like this ever since.
He says,
now, listen, spare me having to ask her again. I'm sure she's been asked plenty. What all do you know that Feather remembers?
Feather weren't there. She was running an errand for me and Cyrus that night, you know, courier business, and she got back late. And you know how that head matron is about her damn curfew, locking all those fucking kids out if they don't make it back in time. Like these streets ain't fucking dangerous. So...
Says, yeah, but she see anything weird earlier in the day at all? Around the orphanage?
Not that she said. She said things was usual.
Says, okay. We're gonna keep this conversation between you and me. I don't want to bring it up again.
Yeah. Now,
and he
what the fuck happened to you?
Huh?
Your turn.
He grabbed. Has she put a drink in front of him yet?
She took the shot, and then as she's like, your turn, she's pouring more of that clear stuff into the little shot glass.
It's just a shot?
Yeah.
He says, come on, give me something with more substance here.
She says,
I need something to sip on.
She said, you're sipping now? God, what happened to you? And you see she takes the other shot that she just poured. And then she goes and like fixes you like a brown liquor with some ice, and she pours a little bit of like a soda into it and kind of hands it to you. She goes, here, your sip and drink. She goes, before you leave, she says, like, she goes, you go talk to Cyrus though. He'll want to see you.
Says, oh, I will. Come join me and Feather. And he walks over to the booth.
I'm working. And then
So
it cuts to she goes, I'm working. And then it cuts to a wide shot of the empty tavern. There's one patron in the corner, like dead asleep, and snoring really loudly. And then it cuts back to her, and she goes, "Fine."
He says, "Yeah, I don't think your boss is gonna notice."
She goes, "Yeah, you fucking wise ass. All right." And she walks over to the table with you. Feather has like, she's she's like perched on the chair, and so she sort of got her like hands on the 2 chairs next to her, as if somebody is going to come in and try to take the seats.
He says, damn, you really did hold down the fort. Thanks.
And he sits down.
She says, that's what she told me to do.
And
do
he
my
says,
job. I get paid good for it.
yeah, he says,
Says you do your job. But you know, we got to talk about that job you just did. Little bit of sloppy work. I got some notes for you, okay?
She goes, huh? I got the chairs. What are you talking about?
No, the top side, the job. You nearly got caught, kid.
No. Shut the fuck up. I do what I always do. I grab the coins, or I grab the gems. Someone's chasing me. I put them on someone else, and I run away. The guys, they found me.
Says, no, you never run a job topside like that alone. That's not how it works. You always gotta have a getaway guy. I thought I taught you kids this. All right, look.
And he passes the bag to Dandelion. He says, you gotta stow that for her, by the way. The guards know her face.
Dandelion sees the bag of jewels, grabs it immediately, and stuffs it into her cloak.
He says,
don't show nobody that. Feather
She goes-
grabs it later.
She goes, no one's gonna see it again. It's mine now.
Says, all right, come on, Dandelion.
And she goes, you can pay me this for the inconvenience of you being gone all these goddamn years. You know how much slack I had to pick up because yous was gone? Goddamn. All right, now your story, bitch. Where you been?
says,
Where'd you get that sword, huh? That looks like it costs a lot of money. Is that a gem on the end of it? She tries to bite the end of your sword.
well, it's in a sheath.
Well,
so she's biting
the
leather.
pommel, the hand grip,
Oh.
the pommel has an amethyst on the end.
And he says,
I didn't realize you were charging for favors now between friends.
and he hands her a gold piece, and he says,
Seriously, keep it stashed for her.
She
nearly lost her head for that.
She bites the coin and then goes, all right, fine. He's all right. I'm just fucking with you anyway. It's all right. Like I wouldn't fucking hold something for her. I basically raised this kid. Are you kidding me?
and he says,
Well, no, we weren't in no meat market, but probably would have had a better time if we were.
Yeah, what's, you got, like, she, like, is indicating to your, like, bandages, and it's kind of like, you got hurt on the way here? I mean, I know it's a dangerous trip, but, like, goddamn, that's kind of a lot.
he says,
It's not like an open wound or nothing.
and he says,
What do you know about blood hunters?
and he like kind of checks to make sure the other patron in the bar is still asleep.
He's dead asleep. You hear him snoring.
Okay.
You see Feather kind of like tilts her head to the side, very bird-like, and is kind of like, doesn't seem to really know what that is. But Dandelion, she kind of leans back. She goes, Blood hunter. And then she sort of like takes you in a new light. She sort of seems to look at you for the first time, like really take in what you look like. And she goes, oh shit.
He pulls back the bandages a little bit to show the blackened veins.
You see she goes, whoo. I can't whistle, but she whistles. And she goes, God damn, that's some nasty shit.
He says,
What
You're
the
telling me.
fuck? So what? You're like a freak now, or what? The only thing I know about blood hunters is they like, I don't know.
Dandelion, I always been a freak. I'm just a different kind of freak now.
Right, but like blood hunters is like, they be like devil worshippers, and like they hunt monsters and they like eat them or some. I mean, I eat monsters. Whoa, my accent is getting crazy right now. Sorry. I mean, I eat monsters, but like, you like.
They're tastier now when we eat them.
Okay, so you are eating monsters. All right. Hey, you know what? We got something else in common now. You know what? I would say this is an improvement.
Laying the sarcasm on really thick, and apparently she's not catching on.
No, Dandelion is very kind of simple-minded. She likes shiny things, and she likes to bite things.
He says, yeah, ate a whole dragon once. You wouldn't believe it.
Oh, you a fucking liar, you little shit. She kind of punches you in the arm and then goes like, God, you wearing fucking plate? What the hell?
Says a breastplate.
She goes, what the fuck? All right. Anyway, that sword cost a lot of money, huh? You gonna hawk that? You need a buyer? I got someone to buy that.
Says, well, we'll get to that later, but I was actually hoping to find some work while I was in town, but...
and he kind of darts an eye at Feather and back to her and says,
but I think I got a different job I gotta do first.
Dandelion kind of nods, and you see Feather kind of like, it's not like I don't know what happened, Alestain. I was the one that found out. It's just kind of sucks to talk about, you know? But, and then you see she kind of like, she goes, wait, so you are taking the job? You are gonna go find him?
He says, now come on, Feather, I know I've been gone for a few years here, but you really think I'm gonna leave Haggis and Boot behind? Come on, who do you take me for?
And you see she nods, and she goes, yeah, I mean, Haggis and Boot have been doing this a while, so it's not them I'm super worried about. I mean, obviously I'm worried about them, but it's more the new recruits that we got after you and Amber left. Iris and Daisy, they're twins, you know, fire genasi. They're real cute.
sorry, what are those names?
Iris and Daisy. They're twin fire genasi girls. And she says, they're real cute, but they're also real good at distracting. Like, those girls, they got like a charisma to them, you know what I'm saying? It's crazy. It's like, you never seen two little girls you want to like talk to and like hug so much. It's weird. It's kind of weird, but they're nice. They're nice girls. They're young though, really young, Alestain. They're younger than I was when you left. You know, they're like, I don't even really know their age, to be honest with you, but it's gotta be younger than I was. Definitely like 9, maybe 8. They're small. They're really little. So, you know, I'm worried about them. And she goes, and, you know, they could probably get by. They're young, but Peaches. Oh, and you see she gets like really, like her feathers like plume up a lot. She goes, Alestain, you gotta find that kid. Peaches, he's really small for his age, and you know, he's just a human. You know, they're fragile. But Dandelion's like nodding along. And she goes, you know, they don't live that long. And on top of that, he's, I don't really know what the doctors, they called it something big and, you know, insane that I don't remember, but basically his bones, they don't work right or something. He's in a wheelchair most of the time, and, you know, if he goes a little too fast and like hits a bump, he like breaks his legs or something. It's crazy. So, you know, I'm really worried about him. He's strong, he's tough. He's real tough. You know, he wouldn't be a part of Oasis if he weren't tough. But, you know, he's got us to look out for him, and I'm just worried is all, you know. You know how it is.
He says, I'm sure if I find one, it'll lead me to the rest. No worries, okay? I got some leads to follow.
Okay.
You know me. I can follow a lead.
She nods. She says, yeah.
Come on. Of us, who always put the jobs together, Feather?
Yeah, I guess it was you and Amber. Where is Amber, by the way? She went with you. Is she back in the city too?
He takes one final drag before putting the cigarette out on the table, and he says,
she's on a particularly big job. She, you know Amber. I may have done well as a blood hunter. I somehow survived the Bane, but Amber, always the overachiever, she was up the next goddamn day, I swear.
Oh.
But, I guess they got some big contract from the council.
Oh.
And, They don't tell me nothing, 'cause I'm just some schmuck. But no, they gave it to Amber. She's on the elite team, I guess.
Oh shit.
So, between you and me, I think whatever they got her hunting, I'm more worried for it than I am for her.
You see Dandelion goes, so Miss Fancy Pants is a big shot now, huh? That don't surprise me. That girl's gonna lead countries one day. What is the saying I'm looking for? I don't know. I can't, God, am I having a stroke? What am I trying to say? You best believe? That's what I'm gonna say. You best believe. Sorry. Okay. Anyway. So, Feather says, yeah, I don't like talking about it. It was real weird. Like, I just want them to be okay. Yeah, they got the orphanage court, like, caution taped off. It's like a crime scene. So, all the orphans, they've been moved, to a smaller orphanage in Midtown for the time being. So that's kind of where I'm. Well, I kind of been staying here for the past week. And the Dandelion lets me sleep in the back room. But yeah, they got those fancy types all over the orphanage. So if you want to investigate that, you gotta deal with them. But I'm sure Cyrus could help you. He's did Dandelion tell you he's a counselor now?
It says, so I heard, and his eyes narrow a little bit, and he's like, how y'all feel about this council?
Ugh, you see Dandelion like rolls her eyes, and Feather kind of shrugs. Feather's like, I mean, I don't know, the war was scary. The Sultan, he did some nasty work to that cat lady, his niece, I think. I don't really know anything about politics, to be honest with you, but she was the one who did the rebellion, and it's the reason we have the council and everything, I think. But they said, she came to kill him or something. There was like a siege on the city. It was crazy. But they caught her, and so we were like, oh, I guess the war's over. But then it was like she was like a prisoner, and then she killed him. Like, she like escaped and she killed him, and then the war was over in the other way. It was, I don't really know. But ever since the council, they've been rebuilding stuff. They're building a museum in the East End, a museum about the bones that they've been finding in the Archaeologists Guild. They've been sending what the fuck is that word? Expeditions. Yeah, they've been sending expeditions out into the desert, and they've been finding all these big bones from like old monsters and stuff. And oh my god, the monsters that must live in the sand sea to be finding bones that big, crazy. But anyway, they're putting it all into like a big fancy museum, and they're putting it in the East End, not in Midtown and not in Providence. They're putting it in the East End. Can you believe that?
And he says,
Oh yeah, museum. That sounds exciting. I do notice the low town looks the same, and no one's found the culprit to the orphanage attack either, though.
You see Dandelion kind of goes, she's excited, Alestain, let her have it. But yeah, between you and me, council schmouncil, it's kind of all the same. One dictator over another, Yeah, they're rebuilding some cities in East End and some of the fucking Holy Soul district or whatever. She like kind of like crosses herself as she says that.
he says, that's all well and good. I'm just saying, and he turns Feather and he says, don't let your guard down just because the council runs things now, okay?
She goes, well, yeah, obviously, like, I'm not stupid, Alestain. It's just, they invited Cyrus to be on the council. Well, every counselor is elected by the people, right? But they held, I guess, a specific vote for Lowtown, and so he's like old Cyrus is, I mean, our like representative on the council, so he like is doing all the advocating for Lowtown. Is what I think.
He sips his drink a bit and he says, "All right, so where do I find Cyrus?"
You see Dandelion kind of, and she goes, well, he's either at his house, you know, that old man never likes to leave his home. That's why he's got all you goddamn orphans running around doing all his dirty work, doing all his currying and whatnot. So he's usually at home. But ever since this counselor business, he's been spending a lot of time at the palace, which, you know, where the council meetings take place. Although he has, I think, been to the orphanage a few times, because you know how he feels about the orphans, so he's been trying to, I think, getting involved in that business, which is why he might know more. So, and you see she's like, not really helpful, but she's kind of like, I would check his house, and if he's not there, then probably the orphanage.
Does Alestain know where Cyrus's house is?
Oh yeah, you've been there many times.
Oh, I just assumed he like met him here at the tavern.
Oh no, old Cyrus is kind of like, before he was a counselor, he was like the de facto like leader of Lowtown, like not by any sort of like election or authority, but people like respect him. He's like a really old man who is like really wise and like takes care of the people of Lowtown in the best ways that he can. And yeah, so his
right.
home, he has a home, and it's like open to anyone. It's like a wayward like house basically.
Gotcha.
And she goes, yeah, he's probably at home.
It says, well, I don't want to waste too much time. And he turns Feather and he says, "You staying here, right?"
She nods and she says, yeah, Dandelion's got some, she wants me to do her inventory or something, because I know how to count and she doesn't. And Dandelion, like, smacks her across, like, the back of the head a little bit, and she goes, I know how to read! You just learned sooner, like, more recently than I did, so, you know.
She said, she said count, Dandelion.
That's what I said. Get the fuck out of my cabin. She goes, and tell that old fucking man he owes me money.
He says, I'll be back to catch up more later. And he drinks the rest of what's in the whatever
glass?
kind of cup she gave him. Yeah.
It was like a Roman
plops
Coke,
it back.
basically.
Okay, he plops it down. Oh, okay, my drink?
Yeah.
He plops it down and he turns to Feather and he says, seriously though, make sure she gives that pouch back to you, okay?
She goes, she's gonna keep it from me. I'd take it back from her if she didn't. And Dandelion goes, you ain't gonna do shit! And Feather's like, yeah, shut up. They've kind of developed like a little sister, older sister kind of relationship where like they bicker a lot, but it doesn't seem like there's any actual like animosity there.
And he says, well, just a reminder, I'm on your side on this one. And he does like a I'm watching you at Dandelion.
Dandelion like gives you that smile that's all teeth, and she says, be on your way, blood boy. And
blood boy.
She says, welcome back. If you need something, you know where to find me.
Says, yeah, just wish it was under better circumstances, but we're gonna figure this out, okay?
Yeah. But I'm serious. You tell Cyrus he owes me money. And you depart the tavern. Where do you go?
Going to Cyrus's house. I guess he kind of has like a to-do list in his mind now. He wants to go see Cyrus, go look at the scene of the crime if he can, and then see about trying to question the matron if at all possible.
Okay. Let me move you to Lowtown. This is not an exact map. It's more of just kind of a general... This is sort of what it looks like. This waterway is part of the sewer system down here. And this is more of an open part of the city. A lot of Lowtown is apartments built into the foundation of the walls, but there are a few open sort of cisterns like this where people have built separate houses and like use the waterway as like a river essentially. So Cyrus's house, and I think we're gonna get to see Alestain's token for the first time.
Oh.
Cyrus's house is this one here with the fire pit. He's got a lot of sort of a ramshackle house built here. His backyard is kind of built for people who need to sleep and need a warm place to stay.
Is the tavern on this map too?
No, not on this map.
Oh, okay. Okay.
In your Roll20, I pretty sure I gave you access to Alestain's token. I don't know if you can see it in there. If you...
Hang on. I have to first.
I can put it up if you don't have it.
I don't know that I can. So typically when you give someone access to tokens, it doesn't mean they can spawn them, I don't think, in Roll20. I think you still have to spawn them. Or maybe I can. Hang on, let me try.
I can set it down if you don't have it.
I have access to your library of pictures, but I don't have access to the tokens, I don't think.
Okay. Well, don't look at those. I don't know if there's spoilers in there.
Okay.
Okay, let me set this down. There it is. Can we see that? Yeah.
There he is. It's kind of small, but yeah, he's there.
Yeah.
No. Don't step on the wires. Go. I'm so nervous about him stepping on my power cable. He's done it before.
Oh, stinky boy.
You don't go back there, you stinky boy. Get up here.
So you enter this place, and you find, sitting by the fire, is an old man. Human-esque in appearance, though no one's entirely certain what old Cyrus is. This man who is beloved by many people in Lowtown and has sort of he's always given you good jobs, good money, and a little extra food whenever you ran a job for him. He's got sort of a tanned skin, he's got a gray beard, a lot of kind of pink robes. His hair is kind of like gray and sort of dreaded back with little like clasps in it. He's got a lot of rings on his fingers, though they don't look particularly expensive. And yeah, this is old Cyrus.
So is he just like sitting at the fire pit or something?
Yeah, there's typically, and you see there are other people kind of milling about the place. You don't recognize any of them, particularly, but, you can tell they're all kind of vagrants that sort of old Cyrus is likely just given a place to stay. And, his door is always unlocked. And whether that's a detriment or not to him, it's never seemed to be an issue. Because, and you think, or I think what you think it is no one in their goddamn right mind would try to rob this old man who everybody in Lowtown has his back, essentially. But yeah, you walk in, he's got his back to you, so he does not see your approach. And you see he's sort of like tending the fire.
I think he kind of walks up, doesn't like make an effort to be quiet or anything, just kind of walking like heavy steps and like kind of kicks a like a dead fish or something out of the way. And he says, "Damn, they got you on the council and they don't pay you enough to, I don't know, pay someone to clean this shit up?"
And you see he kind of turns around. You see he kind of like perks up at like the voice and turns around and he goes, Oh, what have we here? Is that my little street rat come home after all these years away? Or are you an imposter? And he like holds the fire poker out to you. Who are you, stranger?
Says, you got me. I'm actually from the meat market.
It goes, oh, it's a nasty place, I hear. Most people don't come back alive. And he kind of looks you over.
Oh yeah, we ate the last orphans we got from you, so I'm here to pick up more.
He goes, bleh. And you see he stands up, and like goes to like embrace you a little bit. And he sort of like claps you really hard on the shoulder. He goes, Alestain, my boy, you are come home. You've been away so long, we were all sure you were dead.
Says, well, I was pretty sure I was dead for a while there too.
He says, you come sit. And he sort of like leads you over to one of the logs by the fire. He goes, you look cold. I mean, you look, pale. You been eating? You're hungry. Here, you eat food. And you see he sort of like, starts pulling out some bread and like he takes a fish that was off one of the, like a poker that was roasting by the fire. And he starts like making a plate of food for you.
He says, nah, Cyrus, I'm good. I'm good. In fact, I'm trying not to eat too much. You know, I just got a drink from Dandelion. You know, I don't want to ruin the buzz.
He goes, oh, Dandelion. He like looks at the food in his hands and he goes, it's a good call. You probably won't keep this down. And you see he takes the plate and he hands it to one of the other sort of people that's sort of like huddled by the fire. And you see they nod to him and take the food. And
he
go
says,
off and like eat somewhere else.
He says, you apparently owe her money. And
Nah, who
watch.
owes who money? You live to be my age, it all becomes blurry, you know? Who's to say who owes who's to say who owes who money?
He says, honestly, she still owes me from the last job. So how about this? We can settle our debts that way if you do me a solid here and tell me. And he kind of looks around to make sure that none of the other people around are close enough to hear.
Yeah, they've
him,
all kind of given you some space to talk.
He mumbles, what's going on with Oasis, huh?
You see, he goes, and he kind of strokes his beard a little bit. He says, strange, very strange business that. I, normally don't get involved in, you know, disappearances unless it is, you know, from my city, from here. For the people that won't look for them if they go missing otherwise. So this is why I get involved, and I am counselor now apparently, so I'm doing that as well.
Oh, I'm well aware.
He goes, don't give me...
I'm well aware.
He interrupts you and says, don't start with me about it. I don't want to talk about the stupid council right now, okay?
He says, oh, I'm well aware. By the way, your highness, how about you have a word with the guards upstairs? I heard they were harassing a poor little Eric Cochran girl up top.
He goes, well, they have done what? They're harassing bird women? What are you saying?
They were bullying Feather.
Oh, all right. I have a word with them, eh? Okay. And you see, he sort of like, he pulls like a hookah pipe like over to him. And like starts to like take a couple puffs of it, offers it to you.
He says,
the smoke
seriously.
is pure pink.
Says, seriously, Cyrus, come on. No more beating around the bush.
He says,
What's going on?
All right. Forgive an old man for talking to one of his long-lost children I have not seen in 10,000 years. Look at you now, huh? How old have you gotten? You are, you smell like you came from the outside. Are you, even though you're in the sewer, he says, you smell like you came from, you been near some horses? You don't smell too good. Okay, anyways.
Yeah, we got these things out there called showers. You should try it sometime.
He goes, I take a dip in the waterways. It's all the same thing.
Oh. Oh, no. He's bathing in sewer water.
He goes, it's all the same thing. It's all the water. It circulates. You know how it is. Anyways.
Says, yeah, you know what? How about I'm going to go ahead and say no to any further offers of food. Just in advance. It's just, you don't even have to bother offering.
I wash my hands, Alestain. You don't know how to take a joke. What if they... You see, he looks at your sword. And you see... Give me an insight check.
16 plus 4, dirty 20.
Damn, yeah. You see, he looks at your sword, and for a brief second, there's like almost recognition in his eyes. His eyes like widen slightly, and he like looks, kind of is like taken aback a little bit, and he goes, "You're a blood hunter. Is what happened to you? They don't tell me. They say men come and take you an ember away. And I look for you. I look for everyone who goes missing around here. I don't let strange men take those kids away."
Immediately upon him saying that, he like kind of leans in and like grabs his shoulder and said,
"Hey, not so fucking loud, okay?"
He goes, it's not as big a deal as you think it is, okay? It's not that big a deal. Don't worry.
And he says...
Then he goes, down here is not a big deal.
He says, "Look, I ain't one of them, okay?"
He looks at you. He goes, You are not... I'm not understanding. You are not one of them?
Says,
"You smell
left
like
before they could finish the whole procedure.
Oh. He kind of squints and looks at you for a second.
I left early, okay?
Okay.
I don't count.
You see he goes back to like kind of stoking the fire. He goes, okay. And he goes, then he goes, but Oasis, yeah, that was some strange business. What did Dandelion tell you about it?
Said the feather left on a job for her one day, came back, everyone was missing, matron was knocked out. Not much past that.
Yeah, well, that is kind of what happened, but, the thing a lot of people don't know is there was magic involved. And, around here, that is kind of a big deal. There's, magic, it's not uncommon, but in an orphanage, it's a little strange. I was asked to help, to look into. I know a thing or two about magic. I don't have any myself, but I've been alive a long time. I know a thing or two. They got.
Said, what are the signs that they think magic was involved?
They got the council has a not a member of the council, not a counselor, but this you see he kind of smiles to himself and he says historian advisor. This man, he is he knows magic. He comes and he detects. He finds traces of magic in the air, and he tells me that there are magic. There was magic used here recently. They say.
And who is this guy?
You see, he sort of smiles and he says, "Oh, you'll know him when you see him." He says, goes by the name Ambrose He's quite a character, that one. He's a good. He says he's a good man, and he means well. But he can be little well, how you say, is like flamboyant. He's kind of maybe gaudy.
He's gay?
Well, he goes, almost certainly. He's gay. But besides that, he is gaudy. He is, he is not rich. They don't really pay him that well. But he dress. He's got and all of this, by the way, coming from a man who's wearing like pink robes and like. Like smoking pink hookah. He's like, I'm not saying it's bad, I'm just saying, the things that he wears is kind of like a little bit out there, and I don't know. He's not the Providence type, he's midtown at best, I don't think he come from Lowtown. He's not from Rion at all, actually. He live here, but he's not from here. He don't talk about himself that much, which is, how I don't like that about people. Anyways, he, historian advisor. He been around a while, or he knows a lot about a lot of stuff, whatever. And he can do magic, I guess. Oh, big fancy magic boy. They ask him to come, and they ask him to do the magic, and he tells me there is magic here. And I say, oh, well, what kind of magic? And he says, well, it is, sorry, I have to find where I wrote what kind of magic it was.
I know he's gay. We date for a bit.
He says he tells me there is conjuration and enchantment is the kind of magic that was used. He wasn't able to find where or like in what instance it was used, but those were the auras that were left in the vicinity. Quite strange. Conjuration, enchantment is weird combination, I think.
Okay. And he says, were the traces anywhere in particular, or just all over the place?
They were, yeah, well, he just did a sort of general, like, around the orphanage. I don't think he was able to, pinpoint certain location. He's sort of just like, here there was magic, I don't know how magic work. I know a bit about it, but I can't do it,
He says, and if I wanted to talk to this Ambrose, where would I,
Oh, you'll talk to him. You'll talk to him, all right. He will talk to you, and then he will never shut up. He will never stop the talking. You will have to listen for a long time, or you will have to tell him to shut up and stop talking. He speaks so much, that man. He is kind, and, I think he mean well, but my God, does he talk. My God, does he not stop talking. He goes on all these tangents. He tells all these different stories. It does not matter, okay? There is other stuff to be doing. Jesus. Or not Jesus, Soul, sorry. He goes, Soul's sick. And he goes, and he's always got that shadow man with him. God, so strange. For a priest of soul, you'd think he'd stand in the light more, but he hide in the shadows all the time. That man, he gives me the creeps, Alestain. I don't know about that one, but Ambrose I know is okay.
Alestain nearly asks, are you sure you weren't looking in a mirror? But stops himself upon hearing that and says, Shadow Man.
Yeah, his name escapes me. He's, Ambrose say he's apprentice or something like that. He's a cleric of soul. He is helping with the investigation as well, but yeah, he follows Ambrose around everywhere, and he doesn't say anything. He just stands there and looks like he's going to hurt you if you speak to him. So I don't speak to him much. I don't even really remember his name.
You cut out for a second for me.
Oh, I might have been talking too quietly. Let me start over.
You got through most of that. Talk about being a cleric of soul and all that, and then shortly after that you cut off.
Yeah, Ambrose says that he is his apprentice, and he follows him around, and he looks scary Like, if you speak to him, he will hurt you. So, I did not speak to him. I don't even remember his name, to be honest with you. But he will be there as well. Not really sure what he is doing or how he is helpful, but he is also there.
He says, all right. He's a big, scary shadow man, and apparently also
I'm
a cleric
serious.
of soul.
You'll see. You'll meet him and you'll understand, and then you'll say to yourself, oh yeah, old Cyrus, he's not so crazy after all. He knew what he was talking about.
And he says,
Did anything else stand out to you at the orphanage, aside from the magic?
The matron, she was unconscious. We questioned her. She say she does not remember what happened. The Ambrose, he say there is magic done on her mind. She to make her forget. So if she has seen something, she cannot remember.
He says, of course.
Is convenient, if you ask me.
And there's no witnesses to anything.
The orphans, they all say that they were sleeping. You know, the orphans say they were all sleep really good that night. If you ask me something, and I don't know, but you know, just based on what he say, you know, I think someone put everyone to sleep and then take the orphans somehow. I'm not sure, but enchantment, I know a thing or two about enchantment magic through my years. I know. You can make people go to sleep.
He says, he like kind of cuts him off, like when you cut off an old man who's yapping
Who
too
won't
much.
stop talking, yeah.
And he says,
So wait a second. Was anyone else outside of Oasis taken, or was it just those kids?
No, it was just those kids.
he says,
What was Oasis doing the week leading up to this? Do you know?
They ran a few jobs for me. They do a little work for Dandelion. Let's see.
What jobs exactly?
Just simple stuff, you know, the basic, you know, I don't give those kids anything too serious. You know, I'm not going to get them involved in, and you see he kind of motions his head towards, he has some rags that are hanging on a clothesline, and he kind of motions his head towards the rags, and he says, I don't let them do no work for her because, you know, but, yeah.
How does she feel about that?
Well, she don't know. And he kind of holds the poker to you again, and he says, and she is not gonna know, so you shut up about it, okay? If you care about those kids, you don't say nothing to her.
Says, okay. Cutting out the queen is a bold move.
He says, well, what she don't know is not hurting her. So, but I don't think she involved, you know. She's, what does she care about a bunch of orphans? She's got, my gods, does she got her own orphans, okay? She's basically got her own little cabal of them. You'll see them. You'll see them. You're keen, Alestain. You got those eyes, huh? You'll see them in the shadows. They run around. They're everywhere. It's not every orphan, but it's a lot of them. And it's like you know which ones are hers because they hear everything you do not want them to hear.
he like looks over his shoulder to see if like if like anyone's like watching them right now.
Give me a perception check.
10 plus 2.
12. Other than the kind of group of people that was here already, you don't see anyone like hiding in the shadows or anything like that.
Says,
I'll be sure to watch my back, I guess.
Says, yeah. And you see he kind of looks you over again. He says, actually, you might want to stay out of Lowtown. The queen, I mean, I guess it depends on what you want, but if the queen hears there's a blood hunter, she might come looking. And who knows what kind of things she wants you to do. So.
He says, scale of 1 to 10, what do you think the chances are she knows something?
He kind of thinks about it. He says, if I'm being honest with you, there is almost nothing in this city that happens that she does not know about. But, and this is a big but, it doesn't seem like her work, and everything that we have learned is likely what she knows too. I don't know if she knows what happened. I can't say for sure, but I am 99% positive knowing that she is not, at least not the one who is doing this. I can't say whether or not she knows something, but if I were you, and he leans in, gets like really close to your face, and says, I would not go looking for trouble. You do not want the kind of trouble she bring.
Says, well, I'll be the judge of that, but how about you keep this whole blood hunt rumor between just us, huh?
He says, it is just advice from one friend to another. Of course, I am not doing you no harm. I keep your secrets, my little rat friend.
My little rat friend. And he says, it's a rumor, okay? It ain't real.
Okay. Well, you know me. I love rumors. But I keep yours. I keep this one secret, eh? And he winks at you.
He says,
you want to know, I say go orphanage. I write you a transit, you speak to the fancy man. And he pulls out like a pen and some paper and he starts writing you like a little thing to get you past the guards.
He says, I appreciate it. That was my next stop.
He says, you taking contracts?
Says, we'll talk after I figure out what's going on here. Okay?
He says, no, about this. He says, I don't know if you heard, I am counselor now. He says, he kind of leans in again and he says, look, between you and me, guard's not finding anything. And you know, Ambrose, he doing his best, but he is not investigator. He is just a historian advisor, right? He know a little magic, but he's not like a powerful wizard or something. Between you and me, we could use your help to find these kids. And I am counselor, so legally, I can write you contract. I can contract you to find these kids. I can look what you want. What they put in contracts. I pay you money, gold per day. Money, reward when you come back. Big sum. I'll give you. He says, I'll give you. You want gear? You need provisions. You can. The castle. There are provisions that are available only to guards. They sell the good stuff. They keep it all in there. So, you sign. He says, I offer you contract. You get access to vendors and wares that are otherwise unavailable. I pay you gold per day until they are found, and lump sum when you come back.
He says, what are the chances instead of a lump sum at the end, I can lock down some kind of favor from the council?
You're a smart boy. You have not changed that much, eh? You see, he kind of weighs the idea and he says, I have to maybe talk that one over a little bit, but so no big promises, but you do good job, you find these kids, and they are, well, you cannot control, but you find them. You can have,
and he says
you will get favor.
He says, and how exactly are they giving you enough money for this job?
He
Thought
says,
they didn't care about the orphanage.
oh, they don't care that much. But the I am counselor they put in charge of dealing with this business, and I have access to treasury, so.
Says,
He says,
all
what,
right.
He says, what council don't know won't hurt them. Is money they will not miss.
Says, all right. I like that. I mean,
And he kind of looks over his shoulder and he says,
I mean, don't tell him I said this, but I was gonna do it for free, Cyrus, but I appreciate it.
He says, oh, you do it. He kind of like looks at you like unscrupulous, like, you are going to do that for free? Are you crazy? Do you know how much money that the Sultan was hoarding in that big ass palace of his? So much money, Alestain. There, you know, I tell them we have to spend this money to save the city, and you know, some of the counselors there are like, yes, of course we must protect the city. We must make the city better. We repair it. Those repairs, my idea. I had to beg them to repair those houses in East End. Some of them, god damn. Anyways.
yeah, I just don't think Alestain was expecting the council to fork over any money for this.
Well, if you had spoken to maybe any other counselor, but old Cyrus is your friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, he says, no, here, give me 10 minutes. I write you contract. You bring to Ambrose. You show to him. They will let you in. They'll let you investigate. And, yes, it'll be good. It'll be okay. And he gets up and starts like rummaging through some things, trying to find like, he pulls out like a paper and like a quill pen and starts like drafting like up a contract.
He says,
So what, does this deputy position come with a badge or something?
You see he laughs like really hard, and then he goes, yes. And he goes back to making the paper.
he said, and then he says,
Do I have to wear it?
He goes, no. It's not a badge. It's the council seal. It proves that you are contracted by the council. You will be let in to the places, you know, that you will normally not allowed. And it will, you know, it is your proof of you're working for us, basically.
Says, all right, you've twisted my arm.
He says, I could have twisted your whole legs. And then he hands you a rolled up contract, or you can read it if you want, but he hands you the contract, and he hands you a little crest. It has the emblem of Rion on it. It is a I believe, I have to look again, but I believe it is it's two crossed swords with a gem in the middle on a green field.
I think he attaches it to his belt underneath that sort of like hip, like half skirt thing he has on his right side. So it's like covered, but he can flash it if he needs to.
But yeah, so he gives those to you. And he says, oh, do me favor. He says, oh, you do me favor? Since I so kindly offer you this money contract?
Says, it depends on the favor, Cyrus. I know your favors are, sometimes they're big favors.
He says, he says, this one is little favor, I promise is little favor. The priestess of Zol, Talana is her name. She is a counselor as well. She asked me to send...
Is that the matron that they were talking about, the lady that was unconscious?
No. That is that's the head matron of the orphanage. He's talking about the high priestess of Sol, who like runs the temple and is a counselor as well.
Just making sure.
Yeah, no. He says, he says, I have some letters for her, and I ain't seen any orphanage kids today, so they're all up in Midtown. They're not really letting them out after, you know, the whole incident, so you drop these by the temple for me?
He says, sure. What's her name?
Talana.
Alana. Got it.
Thank you, my friend. It is good to see you again. I am happy you are not dead. Happy you are not in the meat market, eh?
And he says, "Yeah, I've been saying, they only take prime cuts."
He says,
And he
"You're fun.
says, "It's good to see you too, Cyrus."
Be careful on your way out of Lowtown. Things these days are not so good. The queen, she get well, you'll see. Go to temple first. Orphanage later.
Says,
My letters
all
are
right, all right.
Okay.
But only because I like you.
As you turn to leave, 5 gold is pressed into your hand. And if you turn around, he's gone.
Oh. Scurrying little man. All right.
You are all gone.
I'll add 5 gold, I guess.
He's like
I
that.
think I spent 2 at the bar, right? So
Did you? You put 1 down.
yeah, the one for the drink and the one for the
the one to tell
stowing
Dandelion, right? Yeah. So yeah.
Okay.
All right. So you depart this place. Where do you head next?
I mean, Cyrus was very insistent I go to the temple next.
Mm-hmm.
So
Go to
I
the
guess I'm
temple.
going there.
Okay.
And he gave me letters to drop off.
So he gave you a small stack of letters. He gave you your contract and that seal.
I want to read the contract on the way and like see what all it says.
Yeah. So in broad terms, it says like you are contracted by the council to find these children for as long as sort of it takes. There's not really a time limit on this. It just sort of says like until found. It says that you will be paid 5 gold per day, and upon retrieval and returning the completion of this task, regardless of whatever the outcome is, you will be owed a favor from the council.
All right. Yeah, head to the temple, I guess.
All right. You head to the Temple of Soul. You go back out the way you came, up the staircase, past the Hidden Gem Tavern. It is about, it's near sunset now. It's, you spent a lot of time in the city already. You get to the Temple District. Let's see. You get to the Temple District, and you walk up. You see the square that leads to the Temple of Soul. Is a large square with sort of a residential area around it. There's a large shrine in the center to the goddess Bastet, the goddess of cats, whom you know is one of the 3 patron gods of Rian. She is the goddess of protection, of cats, of some claim her to be a fertility goddess. And as you see her statue, you also note the many cats throughout the city. As you're from here, I think maybe you don't, it's something that's sort of you've grown up with, so you don't pay too much attention to it. But there are many, many, many feral and otherwise cats that roam the streets of Rian. And as Bastet is one of the patron goddesses, it is illegal to harm them in any way. They are sort of cared for collectively by the city. And it's sort of a cat-centric place. So there's a big shrine to Bastet. And
Can I like stop at a stall somewhere and just buy a little bag of cat treats and just like
Yeah.
occasionally toss them at cats.
I think specifically in the temple district, there's a little like stall kind of near the shrine selling like dried cat treats. You can
How much?
It's like a gold for like a bag, like a pretty big bag.
All right, I'm buying one.
All right. You can add 1 bag of cat treats to your inventory.
How many treats?
It's a pretty big bag, like 100.
All right, hell yeah.
So you purchase this bag. You toss some treats to the nearby cats. All of them immediately flock to you. A little black and white one comes up to you and is particularly egregious, particularly aggressive in trying to get the treats out of your hand and trying to eat them.
I think he is tossing the treats, so they have to go run and chase them.
Oh, okay.
And he occasionally will fake them out and then toss it after they've already run, and just to like mess with them.
I think I think this little black and white one is like watching you doing that and like sees the bag in your hand and walks up to you and is like, "This is where they are. You're gonna give them to me."
He kind of holds it over that cat's head and like kind of does like a circular motion to get him to do a little spin.
He does a bunch of little spins and he's screaming. He's meowing like he's never eaten a day in his life, though he looks particularly well fed.
So this cat is Button. Got it.
I don't know what you're talking about. This is an unnamed street cat.
And I throw the treat and put the bag away.
He runs and disappears. You put the bag away. And it's interesting. I don't think you've spent a lot of time in the temple district, so I'm not certain that you would have noticed this previously. But when you sort of round the shrine of Bastet to go to the entrance of the temple, you are sort of stunned just for a brief minute at the absolute gargantuan like size of the statue of Soul in front of this temple. The temple is sort of it's got a lot of tall, it's like a sandstone color. It sort of is at a decline. The temple is, it's sort of like on a decline hill. Pillars and archways lining down to the sandstone building, and behind the building is the big statue of Soul with her arms open. And standing here towards sunset is like the sun. So the statue is to her arms are open, so the sun rises between them. So when the sun sets on the other side, the light hits her and she is resplendent. The statue is stone with gold accents, so the entire statue is like glittering in the sunlight. It is very opulent. And
I think he stares at that for a good long while and kind of glares at it before continuing.
As you make your way to the temple, you see in the entrance to the temple, so there are guards kind of lining the pillars, and there are two posted at the entrance to the temple. And they don't look like typical city guards. They're wearing the white and gold that the like priests and priestesses and acolytes wear. So these are like specifically temple guards, if that makes sense. And you see as you walk, you get almost like a deja vu. Standing at the entrance to the temple is a woman. Dark skin, white hair, white and gold robes. So she stands very tall, her back straight, chin up, and you see she seems to be like waiting for you as you approach.
It's like the dream.
And as you get closer, she turns and enters the temple, leaving the door open behind her. Do you enter the temple?
I think a shiver runs up his spine, and he feels like some bullshit is at work here.
What?
And can I I don't know, make some kind of check, I guess, because I'm curious if he'd feel like this is some kind of I don't know, she's very magic. Does he feel like she's some kind of really powerful cleric or something, or she could have potentially put that image in his head?
Give me a general perception check.
Okay. 16 plus 2, 18.
Based on her appearance, she matches the description of the priestess Talana that Cyrus gave to you.
But does she
you would know,
I don't know,
based on
carry
that,
herself like a powerful magic person?
Back straight, head up. She seems very regal. And just based on her title alone, she is the high priestess of soul. She is the leader of this temple. So she's the high cleric of this place. She's the most powerful cleric in Rion. If that answers your question.
He does walk up, but I think he rests a hand on the hilt of his sword. He doesn't like this.
You go into the temple? Okay. As you near the door, somebody exits as you're entering. Give me another perception check, just really quick.
10 plus 2, 12.
You see a man exit as you're entering. You don't get a great look at him. You just kind of glance at him as the two of you are in passing. He sort of just seems to be kind of tall, generally broad, dark skin, dark hair. And as he's exiting, and in that brief moment, the two of you both just glance at each other out of the corner of your eyes, as you're passing, and you can't decide what the emotion is, but he seems to be, his face is very neutral, but you see a very intense emotion in his eyes. You're not quite certain what it is, but there's just something really you're kind of oh, and then the moment's gone, and the two of you pass, and he departs, and you enter the temple.
Okay. He just checked me out for some reason.
Well, the two of you sort of, it's sort of when you look at someone as you're walking past them, you don't think that it was you think it was just sort of you both kind of looked at each other, and he just seemed to be really intense,
sizing me up,
intense in that moment.
Did he feel aggro or something?
It's hard to say. You're not certain. It just was sort of you just got kind of a little bit of a weird vibe from him. But he's gone. He walks away.
Okay.
You enter the temple. Let me pull up the temple. As you enter this place, the sun shines through the many stained glass windows and makes this place resplendent with rainbow lights. You see the stained glass depicts a lot of different reliefs. You see suns and stars on the floor. This place has a very celestial feel to it. It's definitely a temple of soul. There are basically all of the walls are windows, and that is so specific as to let the sun shine in this place. Above you, there is a second floor landing, and the top of the temple is entirely glass, as to fill this place with as much light as possible. You see the priestess. She stands in the middle of the room. Well, not in the middle. She stands sort of up towards the dais. The dais. She has her head bowed and her hands kind of connected, and she stands in prayer. Do you approach her?
Did he get like a vibe from Cyrus about how Cyrus feels about this woman?
Not particularly. He just mentioned that he had some letters that needed to be delivered to her.
Okay. Yeah, I think he approaches, I guess.
Oh, that is so big. I don't have art for her, so it's just this weird, like, hooded
mystery figure.
Yeah.
Oh my god, she's a shade, dude. She's a wraith.
Oh god, he's so big too. I'm gonna have to resize you guys every time. How close do you get? Do you walk up to her?
Yeah.
So you approach her, and you see
Says, male's here.
male's here. You approach her. You see she opens her eyes, and she smiles at you. And she said, oh, here, hold on. There's music I should be playing right now, I think. Is it this one? Let me just check. Sorry. Yeah. You approach her.
Maybe she does look like that image.
She opens
with this
her
music.
She opens her eyes, and you see her irises are gold. They have a very soft glow to them, but they sort of look like little suns almost. The rest of her eyes.
Like a human woman, or?
You're not certain. She's kind of like Cyrus in the way that she appears human-ish. Although her ears are slightly curved, you're not certain if she's elven, half elven, some sort of maybe genasi. She's sort of she's got dark skin, pure white hair that is braided back behind her. And
oh my god, she's that one girl from Arcane.
Oh yeah. Well, she doesn't have black.
What's her name?
Mel? Malara?
Mel?
Yeah.
I don't know, the counselor woman.
She's not Mel. Anyway. She opens her eyes. And she gives you a smile that tells you that she's been waiting for you. She says, "Greetings, young Alestain, and welcome. We have been waiting for your arrival for some time now."
He immediately, upon her saying his name, he looks around the church,
give me
around the temple to see if there's anyone else in there.
Give me a perception check.
17 plus 2, 19.
This place is completely empty. It seems though there were guards outside, someone has dismissed the guards inside.
He says,
I don't appreciate being watched.
Watched? What do you mean?
You were expecting me?
I was. You have some letters for me? She holds out her hand.
He squints and says,
"Maybe I do, maybe I don't. I'm actually not sure now."
She says, "Oh, all right. I see how it is." And as you have gotten closer to her, you see that she is quite beautiful. And at first you were sort of unable to tell her age, but as she reaches out her hand, you see it is quite weathered. And though this woman maybe in the face doesn't look as old, she appears to be, or you believe her to be quite old, in fact. And you see she's actually holding some weight on a cane. She says, I understand your hesitance. If I was in your position, I likely would be hesitant as well. But I have a message for you.
And what exactly do you know about my position?
She says, well, I have a message for you, as you have messages for me. I propose an exchange.
He squints and takes the letters out.
She nods and holds out her hand for them.
He hands them to her.
She nods, accepts them, tucks them into her robes. She says, I thank you very much, and I will pay you your recompense in due time. And you see she kind of tilts her head and looks at you. And it's like the more she looks at you, the more, like, the warmer it gets in here, almost. It's, like, weird.
Damn, she's so hot.
Behind her, in the stained glass, you see a lot of depictions of Soul. Just nothing particularly, like, of note. Just all of the depictions in the stained glass is Soul, like, giving light to people, giving fire, Soul healing, all depictions of Soul doing some kind of benevolent action. And you see she nods to you.
He rolls his eyes.
You see she actually holds out her hand, and she says, I have a message for you. Come, help an old woman up the stairs, won't you?
Right here, right now?
And you see she is, like, indicating she'd like you to help her up to the inner balcony. Do you take her?
He does not help her.
Okay. She retracts her hand and nods. She says, I do not begrudge you. And you see she makes her way over to the staircase at the side of the room and slowly begins to make her way up the stairs. Do you follow?
He watches from a distance and follows from a distance.
Okay. The two of you make your way up. Sorry, this map is crazy. There we go.
Jesus Christ, that organ.
Oh God. Yep, there we go. So the two of you make your way up to the inner balcony. Yeah, at the top here there is a massive organ that she sort of walks past. She takes you over to the sort of windows that are right here that overlook the city.
I think upon coming up to this, like, second floor or whatever, he sees that fucking organ. He's just like,
9 hells, do they give you enough fucking money for this joint?
She peers over at it and she says, oh yes, the church is well funded. Followers of Soul are usually quite gracious.
Yeah, well funded. That's what we'll call it.
Let me take the two of you out. You see she hears what you said and does not respond. Sorry, I'm trying to get, like, a good angle on this fucking thing. Moving two maps at once is really interesting. But yeah, so she takes you over to these windows. They overlook the city. And you see, she says, she kind of gestures out to the city and like takes a look around, and you kind of sit in silence for a little bit. She does not immediately say whatever it is that she wanted to say.
If she takes too long, he cuts in and he says, "I ain't got all day, lady. I'm a busy guy."
She nods. She says, "My apologies. I do not wish to waste your time." And she kind of turns to you meaningfully. She says, "I know you hold no love for the gods, who you believe have done nothing for you. Nor do I begrudge you this fact. Gods are mercurial in nature, knowable and yet unknowable to those such as us. They work in ways mysterious and unseen, just as often as comprehensible and visible. But it is not my place to question their workings."
And sometimes they send their little servants to invade people's dreams. I know.
You see, she smiles at you and she says, "You've had dreams."
And he says, "Don't act like you don't know."
You see, she kind of presses a hand to her heart and she says, "Solemnly, I can promise you I did not know. My lady, her workings are her own, though I am her most favored vessel. She grants me insight to things that she cannot do herself.
I see.
Information.
So you're a tool.
Information I must pass on in her stead, where she cannot speak for herself." She says, "I understand that you will not like what I have to say, and for that fact I do apologize. But I sincerely hope that you will at least hear my words."
Yeah, well, I'm listening.
"My goddess, she bid me tell you this. She knows that while you may not accept her embrace right away, that, like all things, you will need time to understand your role in things to come. That does not change what is true. She has..." Give me an insight check before she finishes talking.
I had to find my die again.
Is that insight?
Mm-hmm.
10 plus 4, 14.
As she says this next like part, she looks unhappy. I don't know if you're not sure if it's anger or just like, you're not really sure what it is, but she does not look happy while she speaks. She says,
You and me both, sister.
she says, "Lady Soul has chosen you to be her guiding light, her champion, her chosen. And with this title, a burden."
I think immediately upon hearing that, he starts laughing. He's like, "All right, now tell me what you actually was gonna tell me."
She does not stop talking. She says, "A burden only you can bear. A prophecy. I understand. You must have questions. And though I wish I could answer them for you, she did not grant me insight into her decision." She sort of seems to think really hard about this next part. She says, "What do you know about prophecies? About fate?"
He says,
Well, I know the the church uses it to excuse a lot of bullshit, if that's what you mean.
She smiles, nods. She says, prophecies are not dealt by gods. This is something those outside the church have a hard time understanding. Prophecies are deemed by fate, by the fates. They weave and measure and cut the threads that shape our reality. Many see them as the end-all be-all, and while they are vastly important, they are simply fulfilling the roles they were created for, ever cog in the wheel of the great cycle of things. The prophecies they weave, they are rare, and they are the only glimpses that we get into the cycle that the gods live every day. No prophecy is the same, though all are significant. They foretell the coming of great change. And you see she looks somber. And they always come true. Lady Soul believes your prophecy has to do with a great evil. You see, as she says these next words, she is like swallowing, and she grips the railing like in a white knuckle grip and is like having a really hard time speaking. She says, a great evil, older than time itself. The forgotten. And she like kind of coughs the word. And you see like her irises become extremely bright. And she says, listen, for I can only say this once. And it becomes suddenly very serious in here. The statue of Soul glows brightly. So bright.
His hand tightens around the hilt of his sword.
The priestess's eyes glow such an intense yellow that she begins to cry blood as her eyes are burned out of her skull. And she whispers over and over again, you are chosen. You are chosen. You are chosen. You are chosen. For an instant, you are in another cathedral, beholding a different stained glass window. Instead of Soul in all her radiant glory, it depicts a black sun and a row of sharp teeth around the inner edge, a red eye in the center. Below is a picture of a white figure falling, their arm reaching upwards. The bottom of the window is shattered, the rest of the iconography destroyed. While you are depicting this window, you hear the voice of the priestess, as though she's standing right next to you. The chosen of light shall wield death to avenge what was lost. And before you leave this place, we have another poll. The last poll of the stream.
Okay.
Chat! Are you still awake? Are you here? Let's do another poll. Are we ready?
And while the poll runs, can I like do some kind of like check to see if I can tell if this is like an illusion that's being cast or something?
Yeah.
Like how I'm suddenly in this other place.
Yeah. All right. This is kind of a vague poll, so sorry about that. But the poll question is, what glimpse does Alestain get? He's going to get a little extra glimpse of this place before he is gone from here. But what is it? Is it... Where did my poll go? There it is. Is it the window or the statue? Either thing could be important.
The poll is not visible right now.
Fuck.
If it's supposed to
Fuck.
be.
Fuck. There it is. Anyway.
So whatever the check for this would be is 13 plus whatever now.
What are you looking for specifically?
I think he's just curious if like how he's here. Like while he's looking around, his like mind is racing. Like, did she just cast a spell on me or something? Did she teleport me, or is she conjuring in like a illusion? Is like
You got a 14?
like 13 plus whatever check this would be. I assume like Arcana.
Yeah, Arcana.
Or so +0.
Okay. You
Unless you want to give me advantage because it has something to do with fae, fiends, or undead.
No.
Damn, I tried.
You aren't sure what magic is at work here. All you really know is that the statue got so bright that it sort of like temporarily like almost blinded you for a second. It's like it got so bright and then you were in this other place, if that makes sense.
Do I maybe get the feeling the statue was doing it? Like the statue was like soul was working through the statue or something?
Give me a religion check.
Okay. Fuck, I don't think my religion's very good. Oh no, it's a +2, 10 + 2, 12.
12. Okay. You know that gods cannot leave their realms. You know that most of the workings gods do have to be through sort of other means. They cannot always directly interfere with things in the world. So you think that if this is an act of divine intervention, doing it herself is not always possible for Soul herself. Does that make sense?
So she would have to be like, I guess what I'm confused by is like, is it like Soul working through the priestess who's like using the statue? Like, I'm not really sure how the statue factors into this.
Yeah, it's sort of like, you can think of the statue as like a conduit for her magic.
Okay.
All right.
I guess I'm in her lair.
Let's take
It's
a
a
look.
lair action.
It looks like everybody said statue. So, statue
Damn,
it
dude.
is.
I'm looking at that statue like crazy. See, this is why I investigate these things for you, chat, so you can know what to vote on.
Well, actually,
We're working together, you and me.
funnily enough, this is the glimpse you get is not of the statue of Soul.
Oh.
You are still in this other cathedral. You're still looking at this depiction of this other iconography in this
Yeah,
other
just the
stained
point.
glass window. Oh fuck. God damn it.
You're fine.
There we go. You are still you're still seeing this other stained glass window. You're still the vibes in this place are completely different. Instead of the all glass window walls and all the light leaking into this place is purple and pink and blue. It is dark and it is cold. As you glance at this other stained glass window, you see in the reflection that behind you in this place is another statue. You see It appears to be a winged figure, their hand raised aloft, a sword in their other hand. They are resplendent in their own way, short hair, and at the bottom of the pillar is other winged figures that are sort of reaching for them. And that is the only, that is the glimpse you get, that extra glimpse of whatever is in this place before you are back in the temple. The priestess in front of you, her eyes dripping blood, black from the fire that burned the eyes out of her skull. You see she tosses her head back, and you hear a loud crack as her body contorts, and all the bones in her body snap, and she crumples to the floor.
He takes a few steps back.
She crumples to the floor dead. Her blood stains your boots.